Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR440. It's NXT update. Worlds collide, and I am not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by our resident NXT expert. It is Monty. How you doing, man?
Ah man, I'm happy to be back. I don't know. I'm doing great, but I must admit this is probably the most excited I've been about maybe just the NXT brand. Let's just say it that way right now in a little while. So I'm ready to discuss a lot of the bad things that they've been doing, but I think this one should be a little bit more positive. We'll see as we continue on.
Well, I think if anybody deserves it, I think it is us. Especially to you, Monty, because to be fair, with Dan, we had some good times with NXT, and it seems like you've had to deal with the
Yeah,
majority of the. Don't get me wrong, we've had Johnny Gargano along the way, but it has been tough,
right.
So I think
There's
if
been
anybody's
bright spots, but I agree. Like I was the downslide of NXT, I guess. I was like, I kind of joined in right on the time as they were losing that special feeling. But yeah. I think we may be able to recapture something here in the future. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't want to compare you to like Thanos or anybody like this, but it seems like the amount of talent and 205 Live. I remember that everybody we used to do it, and of course, like show, what a show we have because we've got the last ever NXT UK. The 1 year anniversary of NXT 2.0. It's been a year already, and of course, Worlds Collide. So, a lot to process here today, but we're going to start with the latest on the WWE Network. And of course, we had a broken skull with Charlotte Flair. And we see Austin congratulating Charlotte for a wedding with Andrade. And already you're thinking, oh, they've just mentioned Andrade. Like, is that who they're talking to on
Right.
the phone? Is that who Tony Khan getting pissy with? But it's weird though because they talk about the honeymoon in Costa Rica for 7 days, and I go, I hope the program's not going to be all like this. But as we know with
Right.
Charlotte, this is really interesting thing I was going to talk to you about because with Charlotte Flair, I expect her to maybe be a bit more open in this one, and the stuff we kind of know about Charlotte was kind of just on show here. So talking about Charlotte never dreamed of being in WWE. She did it because her brother Reed died, if anybody doesn't know, and then
Mm-hmm.
became wrestler. And it's always a bit odd. And of course, it's great to actually be able to talk about Charlotte because Jaxie and Jean are not around because we know what we know what they're like. But it's always weird to think Charlotte's had success, and it actually wasn't her kind of dream at all.
Yeah, that's one of those things that I think kind of when people who have that distaste or they think she's this certain type of way when it comes to the business, a lot of people like to go back to the fact that her background, she wasn't a longtime fan like Sasha or Becky or someone who really enjoyed loved everything about the business from the outside looking in. She was a athlete, volleyball, I believe. I want to say it was volleyball, but I know she was just a great athlete in her own right before this. And like you said, her brother's love for this and what happened to that kind of made her make this decision. And of course, I'm pretty sure, you do have it in your blood, but it makes sense. A lot of times you're either going to go one or two ways, if you know what I mean. You're either going to completely resent with the family business or you're going to dive right into it. And, her motivations may have been what they were, but I think it turned out all right if you think about where
Yeah,
she is now. So
it's what she talks about, being the athlete as well. When she eventually signed with WWE and does the kind of the drills that they do, she had no problems.
yeah,
But she was she didn't even know anything about the business. She'd been on a couple of tours with dad, like Japan under WWE, but she just wanted to be nice. She does talk about like Paige and Emma changing the game, which again,
right.
with all the horsewomen talk, it's easy to forget that those two
Age,
actually,
yes.
started. I think Emma
They
now,
don't get more.
no,
Yeah, to
sorry,
get on Dashwood. Exactly.
yeah, well,
No,
that's
you're right.
saying like she's a free agent at this moment in time.
Yeah, awesome talent too, and that's what it is. They don't get nearly enough credit for the way, specifically under the WWE banner, but they don't get nearly enough credit for changing the way people view a women's wrestling match. And I think I love the fact that her and other people have always been trying to remind everyone that, yeah, the Four Horsewomen and what they did in NXT was great, but Paige, Emma, that match and how it turned out in their feud really, really set things up for the future. And if it wasn't for that situation, we would not have anywhere. Who knows where we would be in women's wrestling? We'll still probably be trotting along. You would like to think that WWE would have got the message that, people really are into women's wrestling. But, again, it takes things like that sometimes, some of those special moments to drive, things forward. So I'm so happy that they still get credit from the people who really remember that they kicked this thing off, and it's just only grown from there, man.
Yeah, and one other thing that was quite nice about this was Charlotte actually talking about the people that helped, whether it be Dusty Rhodes with no class, whether it be a match against Natalia with Brett and Rick at ringside, and even she knows Ric Flair's trying to be the star of the show. That's a theme, even when Stone Cold talks to her about being in Rick's shadow, and it's a case of he's trying his best, but he should be allowed on social media because he just doesn't kind of get it. And it's just kind of, you can see there's an interest in, they even talk about the relationship. They kind of argue sometimes, but not too much detail into it. And of course, Charlotte, again, people hate Charlotte, but when you look at the career of her coming to the main roster when it was the Divas Championship, of course, the match at WrestleMania 32, Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky. She even said that anybody could have left with a title at the time. And what's interesting as well, talk about Nikki Bella, showing her what it was like to be a star. Of course, into WrestleMania 34 and a match with Asuka. And just kind of enjoying the moment in time, saying that she didn't mind putting Asuka over, but the idea was for her to be the champion because basically we're cashing in with Carmella, a couple of nights later, which maybe gets forgotten about. Even being shoehorned into Mania 35 and saying, like, look, if we wanted to do it properly, when they got to the Ronda match, she thought that was it. And that was when the switch went with her character of kind of being like, treat me as such. She wanted to even be part of the Authority. And they were just like, no, you can be there. She kind of realises this. They talk about the title drop, as we know, with the passing. And Charlotte says, look, she didn't do it on purpose. Things happen. But again, not going into much detail. Talking about where it stands with Becky now. And she says, seeing Becky with Seth and a baby is showing everyone what can be done. And she wants that, to have kids. So again, not really talking about it. Sasha and Naomi walking out Raw.
But
God, sorry.
From what I heard, though, but also she's never directly talks much about it, but definitely tells you enough to know it's something there. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those things. Like, it's definitely some smoke. It's definitely smoke. It may be a fire, but I'm not gonna give you any details of the wildfire or how it started.
Stone Cold is there as well, trying to coax it because it's like I said, these stories are kind of like sound bites that we've had. And I'm not comparing this to like the kind of Dean Ambrose broken skull.
Right. No.
It felt like, again, with Austin, he didn't want to be too intrusive because it is Ric Flair's, it's Charlotte Flair. It's a weird kind of, even Austin saying how much he loves Rick, with Charlotte involved. She does mention Sasha Naomi, saying that Sasha is a Ricky Steamboat. She can't speak behalf on them or the company as she wasn't there. So again, it seems a bit...
right. Like, it's kind of showing your support, but at the same time, hold on, I wasn't there. So, again, like, even with the Oscar, I think at one point, at least I think I saw that she wanted a mouthpiece for Oscar and all of that. And I was like, that's a great... I never even heard anybody ever suggest it. But, like, that makes sense. That could help Oscar go to another level. And I don't necessarily think specifically Charlotte, gets enough credit for even thinking much into another, woman's career that's considered competition. Because, like you said, people hate Charlotte. They talk about her as if she, it's only about her, if you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? Everyone portrays her that way. So hearing that she even gave it that much thought to be like, you know what, maybe we can give Oscar a mouthpiece at some point, or whatever the situation may be to to make her even bigger of a star. So again, nice to see and to hear, but again, you would like to get more. And it's just, I can't believe it though, because like you mentioned, Austin is a master at pulling things out, but she guarded herself well, you know?
Yeah, she really, really did. She talks about, she does dwell on the bad matches and she wants to have, best performances, but she says the break's been good for her as well. But what's next? She can't just be Charlotte Flair, the 13-time champion, and she knows a lot. But Austin compares her to The Undertaker, making changes and evolving, and she jokes that she isn't dyeing her hair, which again, they talk about it. I think the best chat throughout the whole episode was her talking about working heel and being comfortable there, and Stone Cold kind of relating to that. Apart from it was Charlotte just being Charlotte Flair, and again, it's the character. But then again, with Ric Flair, Monty, help me out here. There's no doubt Charlotte is talented,
right?
But like Rick, is she just living the character? Is there a difference between like the Nature Boy and Ric Flair? Is there a difference between Charlotte Flair, the worker, and the person?
And I think that's the thing. I think that is like you mentioned, you will want to get a little bit of something to see that she's not still in character. Like everyone, like you said, a lot of people who came here and talked, like the Cody Rhodes one, like for example, if you see what I'm saying, just felt like such a raw, legit interview where you were getting to know the man Cody and all of that, also along with all the AEW and all that type of stuff going on. So, that's a great point though. Ric Flair is someone that if you can't tell, he is Ric Flair. He's whoever he is supposed to be before that. Went away. I don't know if he said this, but I definitely heard a quote. Whoever, Richard Flair was, died in that plane crash years, many, many moons ago. And he was Ric Flair from that day on and never, you know what I'm saying? Like whoever he was before that, the persona is him now. And it's just like, I think that be a great example or a great reasoning to why it feels like you didn't really get a chance to know her. It just felt like more Charlotte being Charlotte, because maybe sometimes what you see is what you get, like that is who she is truly, and everything that you may be hearing or seeing, and like we mentioned before, Austin says it all the time. Who is Stone Cold Steve Austin? It's who he is times 100. So, the only thing is most people have a switch. Ric Flair, like we said, didn't necessarily have that switch. So I guess it would be something to say. I don't want to leap and say Charlotte may not have it also, but, that's where we're going with this.
And I think the thing as well about Charlotte is, like you said, to be put in that position of people going, well, 13-time champion, but, given the ball the time. But the reason why she's given the ball is because she did every time. And this is the thing about Charlotte in big match situations. WrestleMania, we've talked about it, she's a big match player, and there's nothing wrong with a wrestler knowing her own worth, but because it's Charlotte, she would always be hated.
Yes, because it is who she is, because of her lineage. You know what I'm saying? And like, it just she'll never get the credit she deserves, because like you just mentioned, even the part about Carmella cashing in later, again, not only makes this Oscar stuff make more sense, but it's just like everything throughout her career, a lot of stuff that she's just gotten flack for, going over here. But like they said, no one thinks, they just think, she's Ric Flair's daughter, so that's why she's always going over. But no, like you said, it's because she is she is dependable. You can count on her at the end of the day to deliver. It doesn't really matter who it is a lot of time, too, who she's with, that she will deliver. And that doesn't take away from her opponents or the rest of the women, but you don't become 13-time champion and make it believable like that in this span of time, because that's another thing. She's done this really, really, like you said, just what? In like 7 years, I guess, she's pretty much done all this. So, again, in that, like, it's a lot. I understand it, and that's not always her fault. But, again, she definitely does not get the credit she deserves for being, at the end of the day, if not the best, one of the best women's workers ever. And I do think that maybe as time go on, like, as maybe, again, absence make the heart grow fonder, so if she stays away longer, who knows? People know, though, people who really know that is one of the greatest of all time. And it's not even just because of what, I think some people mistaken and think WWE manufactured that. No, she brings it too. You know what I'm saying? So people who know really can appreciate Charlotte, and if you can get away from the politics or the fact that you think it's all nepotism, and just watch what she does. No, she's damn good, and I've always been appreciative of Charlotte, even in the young days. Because another thing too, we know when someone is special, and you can just look and you can tell. Like everybody knows it now because of how they finally got the formula right. But everyone knew that Roman was the guy. That was part of the reason why they didn't like that he was being forced. So again, everybody can complain, but at the end of the day, she has whatever it is. She has it, and I don't think that can be denied.
No, exactly. It's the comparable to like John Cena. When you lived it, people hated him, but when you look back and you think, fucking hell, actually,
yes,
there was a talent that kept the whole. She's kept the division treated as equals now. Whether it will be her, whether it will be. Talk about Emma Page, the Bella Twins, the Four Horsewomen, Oscar, whoever. What's happened? This is why WWE is in a much better place than it was before, and even comparable to AEW, because and the characters are treated equals as such. Also, we had Table 3, which was Generation Now, which had Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, and Zelina Vega. Really, really quickly, the Queen was in gimmick, using her special goblet. Luckily, Ripley wasn't in gimmick, otherwise she would have killed everybody. Bianca Belair mentions why she does the hands, as I'm doing them right now, the hands. She said she didn't know what she'd do with her hands, so instead just did that. Bianca remembers Ripley's first training session, talk about the War Games match. Ripley likes being hurt. I'm going to leave that there. And do you know what? I almost forgot Vega was Andrade's mouthpiece in NXT. And to be fair, looking at his career since,
he's great at it.
It was his best and most successful run. I know I'm going to get shit, but
no
doubt. Yeah.
No doubt. Especially you may get some, and it may even be some old heads like, no, he was great at Mexico. Okay, whatever. That's fine. But that is by far, like you said, he was portrayed awesomely. Honestly, if you remember, he deserved longer, honestly, to be on top. Like guys like him, and even I think at that time, like even with the Apollo Crews, they kind of rushed him because Andrade was like, oh man, he's on another level down there. Like you said, with Zelina was also just great at her job and great on the mic. So again, like, people do forget that because, again, how she's been portrayed or how things have turned out since the main roster and all the stuff that happened. But, yeah, man, they were a great tandem together.
Yeah. And my only problem with Andrade is who he beat for the NXT title. But, again, I'm over it. It's 4 years ago. Yeah. It's fine. Vega's little legs done... Yeah. Vega's little legs done a lot of things. Best moment for him, they talk about Rhea Ripley being the NXT UK and NXT champion. Bianca started at 0, she said, debuting at the Mae Young Classic. Of course, winning Rumble in 21. This was really nice, but just too quick. But again, good stuff here. But now it's time. See, we're getting heavy earlier on this episode because we have got NXT UK, the final 2 shows. Monty, man, we've been doing this for a while, and I never thought we'd get to a point. I thought you would quit on me long before NXT UK. Is it the end of a era?
Yeah, not even that. Like I've been here to kill off the black and gold. I've been here to kill off NXT UK. I may, who knows, in a few weeks I may have gotten 2.0 out the way. I am on a streak, my guy. Like, woo, Hitman status.
He's on fire. So, yeah, it's gonna be tough, but like we said, we've got each other to get through. August 25th. Andy Shepherd welcome us alongside Nigel McGuinness. I do wonder what will happen to them. And also, they must have done new voiceovers to cram everything in. This was a month's worth of old NXT UK episodes into like 2 shows. And
you can tell the difference in the audio too. Like it's a completely different tone when they add online.
Andy Shepherd going, "Hello everybody, welcome to NXT UK, the last one ever." You know, it's just like takes you out of it a little bit. But like I said, we'll see how it goes. We start with the NXT United Kingdom Championship Tournament semi-finals. Trent Seven versus Oliver Carter. Carter, of course, was carrying an injury into this, but he nearly gutted out another miraculous win against some menacing Trent Seven, using his one good leg to land a springboard moonsault from the second rope for a 2 count. Seven, however, seems to take a sick delight in assaulting his opponent's knee, stomping and kicking at the target from bell to bell. Carter stuck back with a bicycle kick to the back, but Seven soon trapped his foe in the figure 7, and with Seven cranking back with a submission hold, with P punching Carter in his injured knee, the upstart competitor finally had no choice but to submit. So the figure 7 gets the job done. But this 7, we hardly knew you know?
Yeah, man, what a shame, bro. Like, just what a shame. Like, it's hard to watch that like that and know that, you know, we're gonna get robbed of watching more of this character development because, like you said, he was just so great here, methodical, vicious, and just. You know, Oliver came in there with the injury. He showed that he could fight it off, and he did the best he could to just keep fighting. And he looked great, if you ask me, like really resilient here. Because again, coming into that match, Trent basically told him, "Bro, I'm gonna try to break your leg." So, you know, it was no secret what Trent's plan was, and I loved how, you know, at the end of the day, this was simple, but it was really, really great wrestling because again, it had the drama and everything you needed. And again, I don't know. Honestly, I like you mentioned, I was impressed with Oliver Carter when they had the tags going. But man, I am beyond impressed and just excited to see what he can do going forward. Because you know, just between how he basically took out Deepa Mill by himself and and the way he looked here against Trent, I can see a bright future for him if things are taken care of the right way. And but yeah, man, what a damn shame that we're not going to necessarily get a chance to see a whole lot more of Trent, but this was great stuff to me.
Yeah, and another thing to talk about now, Dean Familiar's win-loss record was one of the worst of any group ever. It never managed to turn around. We never found out Amir Jordan was under the mask. There were so many more kind of little things, you know. But like I said, Carter worked really well, and I no doubt he'd pop up again in the future. And another sad thing, there was no backstage because there was no point doing any backstage stuff because they weren't setting anything up.
Right, nothing left to set up. Yeah, man. It's like we had to trade. Like we got 3 great matches, but none of those great skits in between. So it's like, what you want? You want the awesome wrestling for an hour, or you want us to try to make up a reason for them to do a skit?
Yeah. It is just a shame. So, yeah, right into the action again. NXT United Kingdom Championship Tournament semi-finals. Tyler Bate versus Joe Coffey. Some early mat grappling eventually gave way to fisticuffs as Coffey grabbed Bate with a vicious backbreaker, only for Bate to fire back soon after a picture-perfect explosive suplex. Both competitors on wobbly legs. Bate and Coffey ran full steam into each other with stereo clotheslines, though both remained standing. Bate landed on his feet after Coffey countered the Tyler Driver 97 by flipping the big strong boy over his head. The former NXT UK champion fought his way out of Coffey's clutches and pinned him with a crafty backside. And after the match, Seven emerged in the entranceway for a stare down. Seven feigned getting in the ring only to take his leave and set the stage for the NXT UK Championship final on the last ever episode. But this was great, though, this match. And it makes you wonder as well, who will have more success on the main roster between the two. Because Coffey is built, even though, and I'll probably get on this later with NXT, he does look smaller. But again, I don't want to confuse you.
Yeah. No. That's a great point. I don't know what the hell happened. We'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, man, because NXT UK, he looks huge. But yeah, man, this is great. Like you said, great stuff. It was another one of those scenarios where you just watch Tyler do his thing, and he's in there with another great athlete. And I told you, really not soon after I started reviewing NXT UK, that Joe was one of my favorite guys to just watch in the ring. You know, and as a matter of fact, based on where I was before NXT UK and how I come out of it after watching, NXT UK. I love Gallus as a group in general, but man, this was just like you said, fantastic stuff from both guys. It was also really, really a great little story there, and just how Tyler, at the end of the day, was just a little bit better than Joe on this occasion. And I did not mind that, and I just thought it was great to really, really watch. Also, another thing, again, I don't want to jump around too much, but it's hard not to with the way they did TV. Watching, I'm not saying Gallus but like it is so weird to watch NXT and just see how they're heels, and then they were just so respected and loved in NXT UK. Like the people are just like I don't even know why they boo Gallus so hard at this point, other than the fact that they jumped on Dynamite. But at the end, they don't like them there. But when I watch here, you just see the reaction and how much people react to the great action that Coffee brought here in this match. It's just kind of weird to think about, but this was fantastic stuff, though, man. I had to agree. And even though we kind of knew, of course, we were all at this point spoiled, if you were like me, but we kind of felt it. Even if you didn't know about the spoiler, you knew it because of the storyline element that Tyler probably was going to win. It didn't take away from the competitiveness of this match at all, though.
No. And another thing, we're the cocky ones, because when Gallus do show up on NXT, we're the ones going, yeah. We know, we know the Gallus theme already.
Yeah, I'm folding my arms. Like I'm just folding my arms like
Oh, and another weird statistic, as it were, now NXT UK's finished, is Joe Coffey was the only member of Gallus not to taste gold on the UK brand, which again, when you consider he main evented takeovers, never got a taste of gold.
Right.
It's so strange. But like you said, a showcase.
Going for it.
A showcase for what the brand here and around out there. A video recap of the Wild Women's Division Brawl from 3 weeks ago. Sid Scala announced a 4-way elimination match between Blair Davenport, Isla Dawn, and Mel, and Eliza Alexander for next week. I wonder who's going to win that.
Yeah.
Who knows? And then we get a video talking about NXT UK going on hiatus and going to be expanding to NXT Europe in 2023. Nigel began to slide and said he was excited about it, but we shall see. Well, I mean, at the moment, it's again, I don't want to compare it to like the Queen and King type situation, but you're telling me it's going to be different. But we are losing NXT UK right now, so let me deal with that before we look forward to like NXT Europe. I don't care how great it's going to be.
It's a good point. It's a great point.
The main event of the penultimate episode was the NXT UK Heritage Cup Championship match versus Mark Coffey. And again, Monty, we're going out, but at least we're going out. They're giving us what we want, because Star in the main event, it actually brought a tear to my eyes. So we got round one. Adar went for a roll-up 30 seconds in and scored a 2 count. Mostly fought in position for the rest of the round, with Coffey hitting an uppercut and locking an armbar as the arm rounded. Into round 2, Adar went for the armbar right away, but Coffey made it to his one of his own. Coffey worked Dar over some more and got a 2 count of a roll-up, then missed an elbow from the ropes. Dar hit a diving forearm and scored a near fall of his own. Into round 3, Coffey started out strong with a clothesline and forearm. Back body drop. Dar came back with a leg kick and spinning back elbow, but Coffey hit a sliding forearm to the side of the jaw and pinned Dar to take the lead. And what was worrying was Dar looked to be knocked out. Coffey was 1-0 up. But there's one thing, Monty, that you and I know, is there is no one better at playing out on his feet than Dar, because he started round 4 still wobbly. Coffey went for full Nelson, but Dar backed him in the ropes. He still looked out of his feet with a few desperation forearms. Coffey went for the second turnbuckle for an attack, but Dar stumbled between the ropes and fell to ringside. The ref checked on Dar and told Coffey to back off. This was interesting. And then, after holding the title for 250 nights, it took Dar only 42 days to get it back, as he took advantage of the return of Samuel's interference by attacking Coffey with a Nova Roller for a 3 count. Following the match, Dar and Samuels embraced and celebrated by planting a kiss on the trophy as NXT UK concluded. I mean, I tell you something, I loved this. I was going to cheer and go crazy here. Of course, Dar managed to get the scores at 1-1, win at 2-1. Shah's appearance, They should build a statue of Darwin Shah outside the BT Sports studio and leave it there. And the other thing I loved, as a fan of the same team Dar is, taking those green and white ribbons off straight away, making it Dar's trophy again. What did you think of this? Because this, for me, was fantastic. Maybe the greatest end to an NXTUK ever.
Yeah, man, it was fun. Like you said, fantastic stuff. You know what? What I liked about this is because I was new to the rounds match format pretty much, and I was definitely new to the Heritage Cup coming into this review. So it just kind of brought everything that I have seen from most of these Heritage Cup matches, full circle, and to kind of be a part of not only No Am's jersey, but before that, A-Kid and the few. I think even Tyler Bate. I don't know if he had. I think he had it, but I don't know if I watched him. Man, I don't know if I reviewed that. But again, just watching all the great wrestlers who come through and tried to attempt to win those style of matches, to kind of see this version of it again. Like I said, I fell in love with the formula that Noam Dar has gotten me used to here when it comes to his style of Heritage Cup matches. And this was just to a T, just great, beautiful wrestling, man. And it just played out perfectly, in my opinion, the way things I honestly didn't know because, I'm thinking with my knowledge that I had at the time. I was like, Shaw's probably not going to show up. He's not going to be around. We'll see. But so I jumped out of my chair for joy in with the last round when Shaw showed up. Like, oh, yes, my guy, the greatest quarterman ever. Because again, like you mentioned, they need a statue together because Noam Dar may be the definition of the Heritage Cup, but the cornerman should be right next to him because Shaw is the greatest at it. He saved my guy's butt again. But it was just a great, like you said, even the playing possum and going into the knee bar the way he did was just classic, beautiful Noam Dar stuff. And Coffee did great, trying to battle through it, still be respectful, still be tenacious. And, he kind of got the short end of the stick there, but I still thought it was great. Like, especially since I knew this was the last Heritage Cup match, at least for a while, or at least that I know of, maybe ever. So I was just like, oh, yeah, if this is it, end it with the greatest cup holder ever. And they did it, and they did it in great fashion. I was over the moon for this, man.
Yeah, I mean, without doubt. Dar, I think does these matches better than anyone in the last 30 years. Easy. And then you'd have to get into an argument about the old British style when it comes to Dar because the way Dar does it, it's like the best of boxing thrown into wrestling. So like I said, when he's out on his feet and you're thinking, he's fucked, he's gone. And then, like I said, bringing Shah back just for that last second and whatever. We know Dar has been signed. We don't know what's going to happen to the Heritage Cup. There was talk about maybe we've seen a rounds match on NXT, maybe floating the idea. But I think for NXT UK, when you look at the kind of heritage, no pun intended, of this type of match and the excitement it's built, and especially when you take it on a fresh set of eyes, you go, how can this possibly win 2-1? It's it's rounds. How's it work? And it really has a match type, it's just a shame it hasn't got a bigger audience for it, because this is what kind of make NXT UK special, and especially Dar as champ. When you list, like I said, the champions of A-Kid and Tyler Bate, and even Mark Coffey and himself, all great. But to have Dar there, 17 rounds for Mark and Dar, just class between the two. So really, really good stuff. So we move on to the last ever NXT UK, September 1st. This could be emotional. Andy Shepherd welcomed us with Nigel for the final time. And Blair Devonport versus Amel versus Isla Dawn versus Liza Alexander. The fatal four-way elimination match determined the number one contender to Miko Satomura, but really it's Mandy Rose at Wells Collide. The French Hope impressed in the early going by launching herself top turnbuckle and wiping out all three of her opponents at ringside. Moments later, Amel almost drove Dawn through the cameras for a Hope Breaker, for she, Davenport and Alexander all covered the White Witch for the pinfall. Davenport and Alexander formed a brief alliance against Amel. Amel shows tremendous resilience. She was eliminated when Davenport levered her with a drop kick, and Alexander finished the job with a savage knee to the jaw. Alexander knee scored the upset win when she fouled her opponent with a German suplex. but Davenport clocked Alexander with a running knee to the face and spiked from the canvas for the win. This, again, was a really, really enjoyable match. And the NXT UK fans gave us one last great chant with Where's My Car Stereo to Liza, because people from Liverpool usually steal things, Monty. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, my goodness. That's what they meant. Okay. All right, good. Cool. Wow. She was great, by the way. I honestly, if I didn't know Blair was going to pull it off, and if you just look at the way the match was put together, Alexander looked fantastic, bro. She was just beating the hell out of people. It was so fun to watch. And, like you said, Blair doing what she does best, and the baby faces, both of them, Isla, I guess I don't know why I can call her babyface. She's definitely a wild card, but everyone saying, no, well, let's get this crazy person out of here first. I did love that. And then, Amel ended up, screwed because she's in there with, of course, two baddies. And I love them working together to do it because it was smart to get rid of her. And then now we have these two heels just going at it. And it just felt like a couple matches in one. So I really love that element of the four-way because it was elimination style. Man, I don't like I said, Alexander, I don't necessarily know what they're going to, maybe they're just going to wait her out for Europe, or she'll pop up in NXT, down the line or something. But I really was impressed with her performance here right up until she got dropped on her head. Cause that was a nice, I guess it was like a Falcon Arrow brainbuster type of thing. It was nice. Either way it goes. It was beautiful. Blair looked great. I actually, like you said, came away impressed with everyone here. And even though another situation where we knew the result, but the match coming for it just made me wish all of this aired, in a timely manner, because it ended up being incredible.
It's a shame, really, like we said, with Alexander, with the way she was with Zaya as well. They could have really built something as a team together.
True.
We always wanted Blair and Miko to have the match. We should have had Sarai versus Miko. Like I said, so much potential.
Yes. Got robbed of that too.
Well, about that. I really dug Eliza being in the final too. That match against me as well. But like we said, credit and goodbye. Fantastic women's division. Talk about Isla Dawn, Nina Samuels, Zaya Brookside. And of course, without the UK, no start for Ripley and Storm, who of course are now, major part of Tony Storm, of course, AEW Women's Champion. And Katie Ray coming through that as well and looking like she's going to have hopefully a good run in NXT. But there's just so much to like about the women's division. And it is really sad saying goodbye when there was so much kind of life and the different characters. And who knows if they're ever going to be the same kind of banner again,
Yeah, man. Even the annoying ones, like Stevie Turner or Amelia McKenzie, who didn't really get a chance to see that whole student teacher thing play out with Mako. So it was a lot of things that we kind of didn't really get a chance to go into that they were setting the stage. And I mentioned this once before. And during periods throughout this year, they were not only better than the main roster or NXT, but they were, you can definitely better than what AEW was putting out for women's wrestling and just storylines and what the creativeness of their different characters. Because that's another thing. It's just so creative. Like you said, just thinking about Nina's character and Isla's character. They're out there, but again, just think about how creative those character ideas are. So. It's just, again, it's a shame that this is the end for them in this incarnation. I'm just hopeful that we get to see a lot of those familiar faces again down the line, whether it's in Europe or whether it's NXT or, signed back or anywhere else. Because, again, a lot of those girls were setting down a really great foundation when it came to the women's division in NXT UK.
I hope a lot of people say I'm overreacting. If NXT Europe starts and we've got the whole division back and all these wrestlers, but I just feel that
something has to be different, though.
They're doing it for a reason. So. Exactly, yeah. It's
right.
It's not going to be what we've had here, And Up next, Saxon Huxley versus Kenny Williams. And maybe I wasn't a huge Saxon Huxley fan, but Kenny Williams definitely was. And of course, Saxon Huxley in this one with the help of Chase University. But the Scum of the Earth came with a barrage of flying reversal elbows and several nasty kicks to his opponent's legs. But Andre Chase and Bodie Harwood caught Williams and dropped to the ringside floor after Huxley sent him careening off the apron. And then immediately followed up with a chokeslam powerbomb for the 1, 2, 3. And after the match, Chase U celebrated with Huxley in the ring, who waved a flag. The last non-title match in NXT UK was this. That's all I'm saying. But the Scum of the Earth is a great character, and Saxon Huxley has hit the indies hard, to his credit.
Nice. Okay, good for him. Good. I'm glad that, and that's what I wanted to hear, because again, I'm not so privy to everything that's going in the independent scene over there. So it's great to see that, because again, a lot of, like you said, a lot of great talent is available. So I think that's cool. So, but yeah, it's funny, like you said, that this is going to go down in the record book as the last non-title match. It wasn't anything bad, but it definitely wasn't anything special. It was definitely filler, but again, at this point, I can't complain about it. It was great to see Kenny again here, because like I told you how high I was on Kenny when we announced the releases. Like, I was hoping that he was one of those names, along with a couple of others, that was protected because of just how cool, I think, just being someone who calls himself the Scum of the Earth, and continued, like, literally was living up to it in the ring and outside of it, character-wise. So I was really into what he was doing. I thought he had potential to do more, but again, this was fine. I had no problem with it. Maybe the Chase U stuff was a little bit, 2.0-ish, but hey, what you expect?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a great trivia question in years to come. Like, Chase U on the last episode of NXT UK. What talent, There was a great video package looking at the history between Trent Seven and Tyler Bate. And again, we talk about a couple of videos really getting to me. Seven talks about how he took Bate under his wing early on. They had clips from all their big moments together and a ton of footage from Progress. Again, I don't want to sound overreact, but seeing Tyler Bate from a boy to a man in front of my eyes, man. It's fucking just. And Trent, you going, how good did Trent look? And then it's not like he looks bad, but just like, my God, that's
a good point.
Just all these memories of Royal Albert Hall and seeing these two together, and then a turn, and then leading to this matchup. So yeah, the final match of NXT UK history is the NXT UK Championship. It's a tournament final match. Tyler Bate versus Trent Seven. Bate managed to finally get his hands on Seven for the first time since he got attacked after feigning retirement. This was fantastic. Both competitors fell to their knees late in the contest and exchanged some merciless right hands to the face, followed by a series of nasty chops. Seven, who astonishingly kicked out of Tyler's driver, 97, several minutes after Bate got his shoulder off the mat following a 7-stars lariat, came within an eyelash to win the NXT title when he executed an innovative slam from the top rope, Emerald Flosion from the top, followed by blasting Bate with his own Tyler driver for a long... And even though, Monty, we've mentioned this, I knew the result. Right. When he hit his own Tyler driver, he's going to fucking do it. He's going to do it, but no. Bate...
Even though it makes no sense.
Yeah, no, I've seen it. I've been watching NXT. Yeah. Bate got back on track by stealing his opponent's 7-stars lariat and a corkscrew from the top. But also refused to stay down. Then, after powering out of Seven's crafty pinning combination, they ducked a forearm strike, landed one of his own, and earned the NXT UK title with another Tyler driver, 97, becoming the first ever and only two-time NXT UK champion. The big strong boy will now collide with NXT UK champ with NXT champ Bron Breakker at Wells Collide. But this, I mean, I didn't want it to end, Monty, but what a way to go out watching these two guys wrestle.
Man, they put a bow on this, like, just perfectly. It was just like a great way to wrap it up. Like, That's how you do it. And I think one of them mentioned I think it was Tyler who mentioned in the video package you talked about. Life has a funny way of making things come full circle, and I think not only him winning the championship when he did and becoming the champion again, brought NXT UK full circle. This story was brought full circle. It was just like ultimate, like it was just like I said, chef's kiss. Dramatic. It had every little bit of everything. It was drawn out. Everyone, like you said, had all the great moves. They pretty much hit everything that they could. All the greatest hits, if you will, here for this match. And like you said, it was just one of those times where it's like, wow. And you know what? I think what I really like the most about this, as far as like just as someone who's been watching over the last, like you said, a year or so, or however long it's been now, thinking about it in the way that they gave me a very, like, close to, if not perfect, it's close to perfect personification of what the Heritage Cup match is. They gave me that on the last episode. And then this right here is what those one-on-one world championship, or, UK championship type clashes, that Dragunov, that Volta, Pete Dunne, a lot of people, all those great champions, Tyler in the past has had, as champion. And I thought this just kind of, you know what I mean? Like, showed you what NXT UK was all about perfectly in both those ways. Even with the women's fatal four-way being at the beginning, that was a great way of just showing you the level of competition in the women's division. And I think this was also a great way. And then just that it was who it was. The fact that it is Mustache Mountain, those got part of British strong style. Like I know, like I said, I know how emotional this something like this can make you. So I can only imagine what it was like for you, because as I was watching it, even though, like you said, we all knew the result at this point, it was still just top tier drama, and it was just fantastic stuff. And it made me wish, because honestly, this deserved like a drawn out blood feud type of thing. It just made me, like you said, it made me want more. Unfortunately, like I knew that. I think that's the thing. Just so bittersweet at the end there, because I knew it was over, and specifically for the Trent Seven and Tyler feud, like I really wanted that to continue, because I just felt like they can even go deeper than this. But it was still a fantastic way to, like I said, put a bow on what NXT UK was all about.
Yeah, I think part of me thinks when I was watching this that if NXT UK survived, not like it's been put out of business, just the way it kind of happened. I think Trent would have won this match. I think Trent would have been champion, and like I said, it led to a series of matches with Bate. It would have made more sense. But I understand why they did this. What upset me as well was the fans there not knowing this was the last match. And this again.
Yeah, that's true.
Would it have had anything to it? I mean, no matter what, the fans, how many they were or weren't, and like us, are invested in each and every. We kind of know NXT UK has had this special thing where we know the character traits, we know the reasoning of what's behind it, or why they're doing something, and especially like you talk about Trent and Tyler having that kind of team together, think it'd never end into this matchup. And like I said, the fans were happy Tyler won, but they probably didn't know this was the end. And potentially the last time Trent and Bate off in the same ring. They'll probably be in the same ring together, training, whether it is. But, Tyler Bates kind of moved on to NXT, and Trent, unless he's going to be a trainer or anything like that, it's hard to think what else he's going to be doing. And another fact is, again, for a company, or whatever you want to call it, for the championship, when it's changed hands, and you touched on this a minute ago, Monty, every match that the title changed hands was a five-star match. And I'm trying to think of another title where every time it changed hands, well, I'm not saying every NXT UK title match was a 5-star, but every time
5 stars, right?
Talk about Dunn and Bate in Chicago, Volta and Dunn, obviously, Ia and Volta, which are the match of the year last year. It's you can't argue. And I know people go, well, but if you just look at the quality of that's what shows you what it's brought,
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, that's why I thought, again, the match ended up being really bittersweet, because, again, but it also did his job of that of keeping that standard alive because even when I wasn't watching full time and I would catch a takeover in years past or something every now and then, or I watch Worlds Collide from years ago. I always, like you said, knew that the UK world champion had to be respected. Even if I didn't watch every defense, purely off just the length of how long those reigns were, you had a certain set level of respect for certain guys. But then when you watch them defend it every now and then, like from my lens, it was just like, wow. You know what? I get it. This guy's badass. Like the first time I saw Volta as champion defend, or even when Pete was champion. So again, like, so it's just, or of course with Ilya's just being a psychopath in the ring. But again, like that standard, and I think that's the thing I think that's the thing overall I'll miss the most is just that the consistency and the standard. Like people may not be able to get eyes on NXT UK consistently, or wasn't able to always get the viewership. But again, I think for the most part, other than maybe sometimes where it was a little filler heavy, or maybe when the pandemic was affecting the show, obviously, that's the only time the standard of NXT UK ever really dropped. I think they are usually, if not, they were probably over the last few years, especially if you compare them to WWE brands, the most consistent one by far.
Yeah, I think without doubt, and like we said, we talk about the legacy of NXT UK and what it's brought. And this is the simple thing: is like you could argue the setting or the kind of viewership through it, but if you showed anybody a match, even this main event match, and you showed them that, they would say it was there's no doubt about it. And it's just a shame it's kind of had to end up like this. And like we said, we started with Bate as our champion the 15th of January 2017, and on September 1st 2022 we end with him as champion, and the episode ended with a great highlight video looking at the history of the brand all the way from the initial UK tournament that was covered on WNR in early 2017 to the finish of tonight's main event. It had all the scenes from all the major title wins, takeover highlights, and concluded with a group picture of the final NXT UK roster. Again, this was difficult to watch, but again, Monty, we hopefully look back at the legacy of NXT UK that it's left in the years to come, where we see these people who, like a Tyler Bate on the main roster, or whoever it may be, and say, at least we know where they got their break from, because there's no doubt the success the people in NXT UK have had, even if they're known or not,
Right. And I think people are aware of the names like Mako Satomura and all that in America. But if you watch NXT UK and you know who she is, if she was to debut and let's just jumpstart a feud with anyone you want to list, me and you will be privy to know. Like we probably have to educate some people and let them know, no, that's a badass that Bianca's fighting, or whatever the situation would be. So, down the line, I am going to take pride in that I would know. I would have seen a little bit of Gallus back in the day before they were on the main roster and doing what they're supposed to do, if everything works out. Or even in NXT Europe, I don't have no clue what it's going to be like and all that. But I am hopefully optimistic. But we would have to hear much more. And that's the thing. Trying to look ahead is just so bleary right now. You don't necessarily know what's over the horizon when it comes to this, but I'm trying to be completely positive. And like you said, even some of these debuts that we're starting to see from people that I'm familiar with, they changed Oliver Carter's name or whatever, for example, we would get more into it. And seeing him, the fact that I know him as Oliver Carter and watched him do it no matter what he does now, or even somebody like Axiom. I don't necessarily know about the future of that name, but every time I see him, I'm like, hey kid, you know what I'm saying? So again, I love having that knowledge just from watching an extra show every week, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, at that, and like we said, we're NXT UK. We've still got Wells.
Oh no, hold on, 1 second. The hour format too. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna miss that.
Well, this is the thing. Out of all the programs I watch, NXT UK was the one I enjoyed the most, because it was an hour, but you were guaranteed well, first off, entrances in the first match, I should say, but also like you knew what you were going to get. You like even the backstage skits where it would be like a Nina Samuels interview or Sid Scala with his eyes popping out, or setting up, you know, the next couple of weeks of TV. There was a familiar feel to like kind of old NXT, and with the UK ones as well, you kind of knew exactly where it was going. You know.
I agree 100%, man. That format, man, I'm just gonna miss it. Like you said, all the logical like booking decisions and everything week to week, and just looking at how things progress. Seeing that you can have a 3-match card and still a 3-match card or sometimes 4-match card, but not a 3-match card for the most part, and still be able to make great cohesive television weekly. Man, I'm gonna miss a lot about them, but that's an underrated little element there. It's just how it was like a quick hitter of top-notch wrestling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A quick dose of it.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And what does the future hold? We'll detail hopefully in a little bit. But Triple H sees something like a World Cup style competition that will have tie-ins with main roster, including potentially WrestleMania. He said in an interview his long-term goals have markets all around the world with product that can actually be competing against each other. World Cup type scenarios that feed into Raw, SmackDown, and to WrestleMania. Now, this is a vision Triple H has had for a very long time. It'll be interesting to see what happens, but obviously he wants to see if Europe can be a success. But the funny thing is that they could announce NXT Europe and it could be in London, you know, the first month or whatever it is, and then we're going, oh, hang on a minute. So at the moment we just don't know. So we're going to move on to NXT. We've got 4 episodes of NXT on the update, plus Worlds Collide. And we start August 23rd. And it's a British invasion, really. Bate and Bron had a chat. Bate showed promo skills, but it isn't his strong. One thing I haven't mentioned, lovely looking titles. You know, the United Kingdom titles, whether it be the women or the tag, they are beautiful. And it is shame they're going to get unified, you know. Because that's one of the things about main roster. You go, tag team titles, really? But with the UK title, it's beautiful.
I agree. The tag, the women's belt, the world championship, man, it's just a nice design, a lot of gold. It just feels like a world championship. You know what I mean? And it was funny, you know, looking at Braun's belt in comparison. But, you know, I agree 100%. It's such a shame that those designs are now retired.
Well, Gallus fit NXT like a glove. We mentioned this earlier. Their tag title match versus Brooks and Jensen unfortunately ended in a count out, but Wolfie beat the shit out of Jensen during the match, which was nice. I don't know if you thought this, but do you think Gallus turned it up a little bit, especially Wolfie? Like, wasn't that UK?
Oh, but I, you know what? That's another thing. Like Wolfie I feel like he loves it. Like, especially, I don't know if he heard the reception or whatever and just got pumped up. But like, I agree. Definitely a different animal, way more uncontrolled. I think would be the best way to put it. Like Gallus as a group in general felt like, you know, like brawling badasses in this one, by comparison to the way that they looked in NXT UK. So I agree. Definitely Wolfie. He was pumped to be in NXT. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he just wanted to beat up on the country boys on their turf because they're holding the tag belts that they held for so long. But it was great.
I loved it. Don't get me wrong. Please don't let Brooks and Jensen be the last champs. Don't mind, got some retribution on Gallus. Then we see Charlie Dempsey joined Chase U for a lesson. Again, like I said, this was crazy. Grayson Waller had no effect on me. Apollo's accent made an appearance. Grimes beat Javier Barnell. Indy Hartwell had little answer to Blair Davenport. Guys, we are not talking about NXTUK here. We're talking about NXT. Davenport managed to put away with Brainbuster, called out NXT Women's Champion, getting Mandy Rose. Then who fucking Satomura showed up. This set up a triple threat unification for NXT's World Collide. And if that wasn't enough, Indie Wrestling waited until everyone cleared out. And what was going to happen next? Dexter Loomis returned and carried her away, gave her a note affirming his love before being arrested by the police with a tear in my eye.
I loved it.
this whole segment was great.
Yeah, it was so well done. And then like you said, even the production of coming back from wherever they were doing to go right back to Indy, still waiting by the ring. Like I was like, wow, this is like it was really really well done how they executed everything with the segments and all of that. I give the Florida audience a hard time, and I'm probably going to give them even more of a hard time throughout this review because they really annoy me at times. But I did love the few people who recognized the big damn deal that Mako Satomura was. I did love the camera shots of the shocked fans and knowing that this is not just some regular. This is a legend coming through the curtain. So again, it was great. This is all fun. Even Mandy's presence as champion, the confidence or whatever she spoke with didn't take away from this or anything. So yeah, man. And then having Dexter there, I kind of, him kind of leaving the note and then just giving himself up over to the laws. It was funny to me because I don't know. It's just, and maybe it's just me or just the American thing or whatever. But I'm running. I'm not just gonna stand there. As soon as I let the door and I see the lights, I'm taking off. But Dexter was really calm about it, so it is what it is.
It just literally went into the
fun,
shadows of it. Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
The thing is, well, people go, why is this a triple threat? Well, anybody watch NXTUK knows Blair won that match to be, but also Miko's not going to get fucking pinned, And another thing, and I don't know if I have a chance to mention it, must remember it. Mandy Rose saying, "Put some respect to my name." It's really working for me, and I never thought it would.
Yeah, I agree. 100% because again, after a reign as champ, you can start saying after a while as being champion, yeah, it's all due to Toxic Attraction, but once you start passing the names that she's starting to pass in her reign, yeah, like she at some point you guys are gonna stop, labeling me or looking at me as that same old Mandy Rose. Put some respect on her name, and I agree. The way she says it, the intensity and like the energy she gives off just screams like, no, pay attention to me. This is my show, and I like again. I'm not, really talk. The fans love her there. I'm not really into the thing they've been doing as the people in Florida are, but I really do get it because she felt like a real champion right there.
But the funny thing is as well is like, I know it's sad that it's the UK, but Mandy Rose is now getting Blair Davenport, Miko Satomura as the kind of and Kaylee Ray as a, and I'm going, I'm not upset by this. Like the women's division has drastically improved over just 1 week, So we'll talk about Indy Hartwell as well. I just want just a quick one because obviously we've got loads to cover, but. Is Indy Hartwell bad in ring? Because her performance of late haven't been great, but is it because of who she's facing as well? Or, or should we just let her off because it's Index?
You know what? She definitely still has growing pains. I think the thing is that, even if you're going against someone like a Blair Davenport who you can respect in the ring, the familiarity may not be there at all. I think she's way better when she had people she was more familiar with. When you had a Candice on her side and you had other wrestlers that had been in that system, in the NXT system along with her, I think she performed a little bit better in those situations when she was with people. But when the changing of the guard kind of happened and it was more newer faces and now Indy is the one that has to lead, I think, or, lead in certain cases when she's fighting certain girls. And then now in like the Blair case, now she's following again. You see what I'm saying? Like that can mess you up in a way, that can kind of screw up chemistry and all that. So I don't want to label her as just completely bad because she still has potential. I just think she needs room to grow and she has to get more familiar with a lot of these newer faces and just get more time too, like more actual ring time, not just camera time and all that. If she, because that's another thing, the length of her matches, and maybe that has a lot to do with what she can do, but the length of her matches pales in comparison to a lot of the other people who get as much TV time as her. So, again, I think she's fine or at least okay, but she definitely can be better depending on her opponent.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. I mean, we could argue about it, but it just seems we have to mention it because obviously other people go, "Oh, you just leave it alone." But it's something we've noticed.
You're true. As of late, it's been pretty sloppy. It's definitely been sloppy.
Yeah. The Dyad beat Joaquin Wild and Cruz del Toro. The former members of Legado del Fantasma stormed outside afterwards. And this car pulled up. And again, right, I'm going to say this now. Because we talked about Andrade and comparing with Santos. And I know Andrade had a more successful run. But when that car pulled up, the window came down and Santos smiled. I fucking had tears in my eyes as he said, "You didn't think I was going to leave you guys. The family sticks together." And again, I was just going, Legado. Legado. Because it's, again, a group that we've seen and they've left. And I know it's in defeat, whether it is, but they've rid off to the sunset. And fair fucking play to them, you know, each of them as well.
Yeah, I really like the way it's funny. Part of the you know, just the fan in me was like, oh, so stipulations just don't matter, I guess, right? But then the other part of me ignored that completely because, like you said, just how great a moment it was, and just how it just wouldn't be right if it was just Santos leaving and not his guys, his family, like you mentioned. And you know, and I agree. Honestly, I didn't think they were going to be able to, but they actually was able to put over D'Angelo and still be able to get away from it and do their own thing now going forward. I can't wait to see what's next for them, in all honesty. But yeah, I agree. This moment was just done absolutely perfectly. And I completely ignored the fact that the stipulation from Heat Wave went out the window.
It's just the thing, though. It's a shame. But again, if we get, you know, Legado on the main roster, all things will kind of be worthwhile there. We then get Tyler Bate versus Von Wagner. While the big man was difficult for him to pick up for the Tyler driver, the NXTUK champ improvised, hitting a corkscrew senton to win. Good stuff. This is Bate at his best, especially against a big man. It's always good to see Von Wagner lose. And then the lights out, main Tiffany Stratton versus Wendy Chu. Stratton found an early edge and Arrogantly dominated Chu. However, thanks to some clever use of unconventional weapons, Chu picked up the big win, ending it with a Vader bomb. And I'll tell you what, credit to both. And again, Monty, bit like Mellow Hayes, we were going to get into in a little bit. You were bang on the money when it comes, I think, to Tiffany Stratton, because she is going to make, I think, a lot of money for the company.
Yes. I agree. And I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but like it's just there, man. She has it. She has it all. The athleticism, of course, the look, and just again, the timing of it. She's one of those people who seem to be picking up the training and everything at the right pace. And you know, this matchup was way more fun than it had any right to be. I stand by the fact that I did not think their feud was you know, blood feud enough for a lights out match, but it still ended up very, very fun to watch. And I also want to give, I think you even mentioned this in the past, like Wendy has found a way, no matter what the gimmick is, to make it work. And like that, I really want to give her props. Like if you can just ignore the silliness of her gimmick and just watch what she does, she's pretty good too. And I think she got a chance to shine here and, you know, kind of get a little bit of that heat back from how Tiffany has been doing her. But yeah, man, Tiffany, I see really, really big thing. A lot of people can definitely see Nikita Lyons being the person that WWE wants to go behind. And I wouldn't be surprised, but please do not be shocked if Stratton ends up right next to her or even more successful than her, because I think it's all there, man. She has the tools. Now it's just all about putting it all together, you know?
Yeah, now backstage, the men and women signed the contracts for unification. Overall, this felt like an extended NXT UK. I had no problems with 2.0 this week. And then we had the for the Worlds Collide August 30th. Grayson Waller beat Apollo Crews after a weird eye rake. Finn Balor had words for Bron Breakker. He said he made the NXT title. Don't underestimate Tyler. The messages from the former champions in the back. I don't know who came up with that idea, but it was fantastic, wasn't it? You know, like
awesome idea. And then when Finn decided to say, like, I've beaten bigger guys myself, and I'm just like, it's great because Tyler is the smaller guy here. Don't underestimate him. It was perfect. Perfect.
Well, we had Katana Chance and Kaden Carter versus Ivan Nail and Tatum Paxley. Gigi Jones and JC Jane attacked Ivy Nile. That allowed Chance and Carter to hit the net breaker for the win. After the match, Doudrop and Nikki Ash arrived to challenge for the NXT UK Women's titles because why not, you know? I mean, to be fair, if Nikki shows up as Nikki, all bets are off for me. I won't mind this at all. But at this moment in time, it just felt, we need this filled. Here you go.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there any available former wrestlers for NXT UK or from the UK that we can borrow here? That's what it felt like. Yeah. Well, we need them. Come do the job, please.
We had some more Gacy Grimes nonsense. It's bad. You know it's bad when Cameron can't make it work. Ciampa found Brom explained what the NXT title meant to him. Baszler warned Mandy Rose that failing on Sunday would hurt NXT and devalue so far. Alba Fire told Miko to win for NXT UK. Ray Ripley encouraged Blair. She went, well, yeah, you're probably who I'm left with, you know, but still. Josh Briggs, Brooks Jensen and Fallon Henley lost to Pretty Deadly and Lash Legend. Charlie Dempsey made his in-ring debut and lost to Andre Chase. This is your fault, Monty. I don't know how it is your fault, but it is your fault, you know.
I love Andre Chase and I was pissed. Like, I'm sorry. I love him and I wasn't happy. So don't worry about it. Like, because I'm like, bro, y'all have done nothing but portray Andre Chase as someone who can lose at any time. He can win, but he loses most of the time. Please, why would you have Charlie, who hasn't, you know, in his first match, not get the fall? I did not agree with that at all. So don't feel bad.
No, I blame
me. I'll take it.
I did. Zoe Stark beat Kiana James. Nathan Fraser and Axim agreed to a best-of-3 falls match at World Collide. Axim had no idea about NXT UK. I really like this with Fraser saying to him, you haven't got a clue how these Heritage Cup matches work. Axim going, I suppose I don't. You and I, Monty, of course, know that Axim is a former A-Kid and the very first Heritage Cup champion. Thank you very much. Yes, like that. It's different. It's weird that they actually made a joke for us, and I appreciated it.
Yeah, I loved it, and it also just made it even more hilarious. I think a couple weeks later when Vic says, the first ever meeting between. I was like, yeah, okay, technically you're right, Vic. Technically, okay, sure.
Really, really good stuff. Diamond Mine and Gallus were an even match throughout their, match until Roderick Strong arrived. Damon Kemp was too focused on Strong, even taking time to stomp his phone, leading to Kemp a lariat from Joe Coffey to seal the win. Fatal 4-way booked. And then in the main event segment, Hayes and Williams stormed to the ring because their NXT North American champion was off the Worlds Collide card. Ricochet interrupted to make clear he wanted the title match, knocking both men down and grabbing the belt. Well, better late than never. And I love Ricochet. You know, my best mate shared knickknacks for him. You know, we love him. But we
Right.
wanted Dar. You know, come on. That's who we wanted. But I suppose Ricochet is a good second.
Yeah, I think maybe it was a time crunch because I would have liked if we would have found a way to either, if not incorporate the rounds format into it, at least give Dar, like you said, a North American title shot or something. But I don't know. I really would have been into that if they would have found a way to put, you know, even if it's not Cup versus title or whatever, it just still would have been fun to get that because again he represents NXT UK. Ricochet the only connection we have is that he's a former North American champion. He's incredible. Everyone, like you said, I love Ricochet too. But yeah, this was not. I would have definitely preferred Noam Dar, but I can't complain because I knew it was going to be just two great athletes doing what they do. So I still was looking forward to it. But yeah, I was definitely bummed that they couldn't find a way to get the Heritage Cup champion in on this.
It is a shame, but we're going to move on now to, like I said, the last official connection to NXT UK is Worlds Collide. Let's hope they can win some matches. September 4th, and we kick off with Roddy Strong was beaten bloodily in the bloody car park. I mean, seriously, guys, cameras. How many we talked about this last month. How many times does that need to happen? It is unbelievable. And then we get...
How do we not have cameras already out there?
How many attacks How many, things would have been stopped there? It's worse than like only murders in the building. It's like only attacks in the car park. Just put cameras there. Mackenzie Mitchell and Sam
Please.
Rosenberg. We get a sit down with Mello and Trick. He puts Ricochet over and tells us he's elevated the title. He says, when you think, well, like you said, talk about elevated title. When you think he's beating Gargano, Solo, and Dunn, it is crazy to think. You were bang on about him. You were really. I mean, I remember when I first introduced, because I just lost Swerve, so I was pissy anyway.
Right.
And you said Hayes, and I went, no, he's not fucking anybody. And you were right, Another thing I was wrong about is that it wasn't Pete Rosenberg, it's Sam Roberts. But they're so interchangeable. It's like it's like Tom or Todd Phillips. I don't know. Both bald, both got beards, I don't want to be this guy saying all white people look similar, but can you at least do something for this? I don't know if you saw Kickoff, but we saw some nice phone acting by Brutus. Not many people can get that right. Julius is just an angry Hager, and Damon is so stiff, he's like a robot. Say, I'm so sorry, guys. I should stay focused. Toxic Attraction aren't happy. They wanted to unify the tag titles. We saw a great promo for NXT Championship, and Andy Shepherd joined with a bad connection, which is a shame, but I can't complain about that. Good luck, kid. I didn't like his top. And then the main show, with Triple H in charge, though, this felt like an old takeover.
Yes.
This is the Monty of NXT UK, but it was a great opening promo. Seeing NXT UK made me smile, but it is bittersweet,
Yeah, I agree, man. It set the tone perfectly, but I can't agree more. It definitely ended up, leaving that taste in your mouth, like, damn, man, it really is over, And I think even though it set the tone for the night nicely and all of that, it was still hard, especially as the results started to turn out. It was getting tough as a UK fan. You know what I'm saying? As a fan of some of these people in the brand, it definitely was getting tough.
On the plus side, I liked the spinning weld at the entrance. So you see, I'm taking positives from everyone.
I was mad because I didn't notice it. It took Gallus to come out until I seen it.
I didn't know if it was on the screen or not, but I was like, no, that is just their spinning. That's right. I'd love to think someone's it's in a warehouse somewhere now, just spinning around by itself. Then we started with the NXT North American Championship match, Ricochet versus Carmelo Hayes. Hayes' entrance included a jersey bearing the names of every challenger he conquered during his time in NXT, followed by one with Ricochet's on it in an attempt to play 9 games. I mean, again, you were right. What can I say? Like, the entrance in itself just screamed star, and it's something that no one else is doing, where it's like your list of your victims.
Right. Yeah. And then another thing is like an American basketball, callback, but it's a reverse. Usually when your jersey's in the rafters of a basketball arena, you were a legend for that team who arena you're in or something like that. But in his case, he switched it to where I'm putting your name in the rafters because I owned you and, I beat you. And I love that confidence and the way he kind of took something from another sport and, made it his own. It's just a great concept.
Without a shadow of a doubt. And into the match, the arrogant champion, his high-flying challenger, delivered a surprisingly physical, hard, high-energy display of athleticism. Hayes and Ricochet excited spots that were fresh, unique, and escalated the intensity of the match. Hayes caught Ricochet with a beautiful springboard clothesline that saw him launch himself halfway across the squared circle. Champion and challenger took off the ropes, launched themselves off with a springboard, and collided mid-air with a double crossbody. Let me just say that again. Both men went off the second rope and met each other mid-air. It was like a Fast and a Furious stunt of meeting in the middle. They defied gravity. They were up there for about 10 seconds, it seemed like.
Yes.
In the end, it was
hang time, man.
It's just fucking unbelievable. It was a distraction provided by Ricochet wiping out Trick Williams. That provided Hayes the momentary reprieve he needed to roll out the way of a shooting star. When Ricochet landed on his feet, Hayes caught him with a small package for the win and successful title retention. But what a No, like we're talking about the open exchange was epic. The exchange with the fan, with the chop, was brilliant. With Ricochet getting the fan to hold, but Melo's look at the fan afterwards actually got a lot, and that's
thank you. You noticed it.
The interaction
Genius.
is just it's just what you want. As for the match though, like I said, Melo don't miss, but I cannot believe I've watched a match where Melo outsold Ricochet. Like, to anybody to out him, I was just like, wow.
Yes, he made him look like $1 million, man. It was a spectacle. Over here we say 100 miles per hour, so they were just going full speed. Two incredible athletes, man. Like you said, Fast and Furious stunts, legit, is what I felt going into this. And they're just doing what they do best. And Melo, at this point, I was about to say he has really good chemistry with Ricochet, shocking, but I was like, at this point, I just have to say he has good chemistry with everybody. Because I've been into mostly pretty much every defense he's had. But, yeah, man, they was on the same page here this entire match. I agree, man, that chop. He made that fan's night, by the way, but the way Melo looked at that fan, I actually had to rewind, and I showed my wife that because I was like, yo, this is beautiful. Like, just look at the way he stared his fan down. It's like, okay, yeah, all right. Like, if I wasn't hurting right now, I'll slap the hell out of you for that. But I just loved it. I love the energy from that, just that one moment. Little things like that, like you said, is why I know he's going to be a big star. But, man, like I said, it may not have, like, the greatest storytelling to it, but everything they did looked awesome. And it was just a great opener because it set that tone for what the night could have been. I don't necessarily know how you can set the tone any better, man. And honestly, it would have been perfect with less trick, less interference, of course. But I did not mind the finish of Melo surviving Ricochet because not only does it continue to it continues his reign, but this is like, in my opinion, I don't think he's ever had one where he escaped and won the match. Like, usually he end up finding a way to end up hitting that leg drop some way, shape, or form or something like that. But the way since he escaped Ricochet, it added a nice little, unique finish for this. But I still expected a more definitive finish, so I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. But this is great. I really, really loved it. They were on fire.
Yeah, I love this. If we talk about Trick, he's the perfect partner for him. But every face should know about him, But then again, it does start from the top, Drew. I'm just saying, if people knew,
point.
But again, for me, it was just wow. Like, we know how Ricochet is, but with Melo to, like I said, outsell him was because Ricochet's so good at what he does, and Melo was he just stepped up to that level and looked so comfortable, and I was just so into this. But I gave it a 5 out of 5 because it's, like you said, maybe more than a week's build, but it's like when, and again, it felt like an old takeover, especially when it's a weekend. We've just had, what we forget, reviewing it at this point, we just had, which I don't know if anybody listened, but I was there. I don't know if I mentioned it. But also, like I said, we have AEW All Out that night. And then then Melo and Ricochet come out and just do that. And it's like, yeah, this is what NXT is all about. And it was fucking brilliant. And even at the end, when the Ricochet's jersey, changed colour to say he was just another victim, so to speak, was fantastic. For this, well, we actually did do bonus predictions. The bonus leagues at this moment: Gina, Jackson, Monty on 6. I am on 10. So it'll be interesting to see what we do. Predictions: we all went Hayes, so we are all on 1 point. We then get a nice Roxanne video. Quincy Elliott is coming. I'll leave that there. And an epic Miko video. Wrestling on Nitro, man. Like I said, this is what I liked about the show. If people go, what a legend Miko is, you see her wrestling on an old Nitro, you go, fucking hell. Just that's how long she's been going.
Yeah, man. To see the footage and just think about it, it's like, wow, this is, a lot of fans weren't even alive.
Yeah, some of us were. So we get a fatal 4-way elimination match for the unified NXT and NXT UK Tag Team Championships. Fallon Henley and Lash Legend accompanied Briggs and Jensen, Pretty Deadly respectively, and wasted a little time brawling at ringside as their rivalry continued. Lash does not fit. It would be like me with them. Just does not work at this moment in time. I could hear JR shouting, "We need another ref" as well in this one, because this was carnage.
Yes.
This was
Chaos.
carnage. Yeah, to begin with. All big men just flying about. And then we see Jensen go to the top and falling on his fucking face. Oh, that was brilliant. He was quickly eliminated by Gallus. Oh,
I had to rewind, by the way, because they did a good job of pretending that Coffee, I think it was Coffee or Wolfie, had something to do with it, but it was funny as hell to rewind back.
You know when you pick out wrestlers like Mello or, let's say Stratton, and they perform well. And there's something about pick a wrestler, go, I don't like him, and then seeing him fall on his fucking, literally falling on his fucking face. I told you. The Creed brothers, though, delivered a modified version of the Road Warriors Doomsday device to send Gallus packing after pinning Wolfgang. So our picks are gone in this matchup. Julius dominated the action, showcasing his athletic prowess and ragdolling Pretty Deadly around. There was a late match ref bump caused by Brooks brawling back into the arena. And then the shocking betrayal of Diamond of Damon Kemp. And for a second, I didn't think we were going to get it, because he hit it, but as soon as he picked up that chair, everybody was just like, man. Yeah, we know what's going to happen here.
He's about to do it.
Kemp flattered Julius with a chair, and Prince scored the pinfall victory and solidified him and Wilson's place at the top of the tag team mountain. Yes, boy.
Yes, boy.
Why the fuck didn't I go for them? What was wrong with me? How much do I love Pretty Deadly?
You know what? I think another thing is, like, I was so mad because once the Creeds were took out, once the Creeds took out Gallus, I was just like, okay, yeah, they got it. The Creeds has this in the bag. Then they're gonna retain. They're gonna do it. I was hoping that we got a UK, and it was like literally me. I'm like, they haven't been in 2.0 that long, but they've been in 2.0 long enough for me to not think about their connection to the UK for a second there, I guess. I don't know why. I know that they were, they were NXTUK tag champions when I started reviewing. So I know that, but still, I guess the 2.0 funk was on them or whatever, and I just forgot about it completely. But I definitely regretted it after that. But that finish, I like I said, the Creeds were just impressive. Like, oh my goodness. Like Julius, man. And we'll talk about some more stuff, I think, on the anniversary show about this guy. But man, Julius is my guy. I don't know. I'm really in not that I don't like the Creeds in general, they're great, but Julius, man, I'm trying to tell you, he's special. But what I knew though, the thing that kept me into this towards the end there, even though I was thinking that the Creeds had this in the bag, I knew, I was like, Roddy Strong they showed us Roddy Strong, the aftermath of him getting attacked for a reason. But I still was shocked because it was so well done. The angle in which he swung the chair and coming in with the spear first kind of threw me off too. So I was like, yeah, this is really, really well done. So, and then I was watching it live, so it just ended up turning out perfectly, and I did not mind Pretty Deadly winning because, again, I'm just like you. I love Pretty Deadly, and I definitely would prefer them. As a matter, like we said, as long as it wouldn't Brooks and Jason combined in this, we were fine. So yeah, man, I gave this 4 stars. This was a lot of fun.
This is the thing, like, I'm going to count this as an NXTUK win. I know they're on 2.0, but
yeah, please do.
We've got to take this.
They need it.
Really fun match. Why Damon? Why? But I don't care. It's really annoying. Like we said, Pretty Deadly. Double side plate check as well. And it's like, man, I should have just... But with the group thing, you feel like an idiot sometimes. I'm not making an excuse, but with predictions, if everybody's gone like Gallus and you're going, well, if I go against it, am I just being too, is it... But again, it's not about that.
Right.
I'm going to give it 4.25. Predictions, we all went Gallus, so we're still all on one. Tony D doesn't want any bad fish, so he asked Grimes, who... if he wants to join the family, Grimes, stop walking around backstage. It's not working. You know, you're gonna get each group.
Right.
You're gonna get beaten up by Diamond Mine next or something like that. We get the triple threat match to unify the NXT and the NXT UK Women's Championships. We get ribbons for Miko's entrance. She went, and I'll tell you something about Miko. She commands respect. Like when she walks, people stop and look.
Right.
And it's not
presence.
Yeah,
yes.
That's what it is. It's that she doesn't need to do anything. It's just it's like Bret Hart as champion. It's just there is someone you should respect that is carrying himself, kind of legend. What I thought was a bit weird was Mandy arriving in a car, even though we saw her earlier. So did she just get in the car and then drive around? Again, each to their own. She was sporting a USA-themed attire, which, again, USA. I was like, yeah.
America.
Yeah,
whatever.
against for the UK title against the New Zealander and someone from Japan. Yeah, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
But it was competitive,
Sure.
hard-fought match, though. That saw Mandy Rose hang with two superb professional wrestlers and never once look out of place. She never looked like she didn't belong either, instead choosing this night to deliver her best in-ring performance to date.
By far.
Late in the match, Victor tried for a running knee. Davenport dodged it and scored a roll-up. Samuel broke it up with the Scorpio rising, but Rose re-emerged, rocked Davenport with a kiss from a rose, and earned the win and the title unification. Just before we talk about the match, I know people saying 313 days for Mandy is a great reign. Miko had a reign over 440. I'm just saying, just in case, put it in perspective. But
KLR, Oscar. I mean, we can go there. We can go there if you want.
Much like Mello earlier, though, Mandy brought her A game for Miko.
Hell yeah.
This was a fun match.
Yeah, man, she stepped it up. Like I think she knew she was in there, like you said, with a legend and somebody like Blair, who, even if she may not have the name worldwide, she definitely has the name across, like, in different pockets of the world because of what she's done and her talent as a champion also. So, yeah, man, this is like the fans were definitely rooting for Mandy. Like, she was by far the favorite in there, even though, that's another reason why I can't stand them. But I get it. This was the best I've seen her look, though, man. And just her biggest moment easily by far as champion. The most champion she has felt like. This is the most that she's ever felt like a champion to me in her run. And this, like you said, as the match progressed, it almost just felt like Mako and Blair were there to legitimize her even more, because that's just how much of this match she was taking part of. If you remember early in her run, I think it was a triple threat against Kaylee and Io, right? I want to say that's what it was. But in that match was put together totally differently. Like, Mandy was in it, but she was usually spoiling things, and she came to take advantage towards the end. They protected her a lot. I even remember saying that. In this one, this was not the case. She was here. I really give her props, man, because like you said, she even pulled out like a superplex or whatever and all that stuff that I've never really watched Mandy do to an extent. So, and then everyone else looked great. I thought everyone had moments where they looked great and looked like they had a chance to win. And then that execution of the finish and the knee. And by the way, I love the kiss from a roll name. That's a great. I don't know if they've ever been using that a lot. Have I just been missing it? But I like that for the finish. And yeah, man, 4.25, man. This was, like you said, really competitive and ended up being way better than I thought coming into it. And I have to give Mandy all the props in the world. That was a championship performance.
Yeah, it really grew into a good showing for all three. I loved the finish as well. Like I said, with Miko being protected. 4.5 from me. Predictions all Miko apart from me. That went Mandy Rose. So I do lead 2-1 at this moment in time. But that, as you know, Monty, is not going to fucking last. I'm a man, my word, low. I'm going to stick by that main event prediction. Alba Fire promo, Wesley promo, and then the NXT Women's Tag Team title match, Killing Carter, Katana Chance versus Doudrop and Nikki Ash. And for the majority of the bout, the main roster duo looked like the vastly superior team dominated the competition.
Dominant. Yeah.
Late in the match, Gigi and Jane appeared, drawing the attention of Ash, who fended them off but missed Chance, and Carter taking out Doudrop. to win the match and retain their titles. This felt like filler, and I think it was treated as such, but did they really have to book it like this?
I hated it, man. I really hated the way it turned out because, before I do that, I do want to say I did love them low key trying to explain why Nikki and Piper were there. Like at the beginning, they were like, two, flag bearers and trailblazers for women's wrestling in the UK. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, I guess that's enough of a connection. But anyway, Carter. Yeah, like they're just grasping at straws to explain why this match is happening. But anyway, Carter and Chance, I did think for the most part, they move at a completely different pace than they used to in these matches. So I think their cohesiveness as a team has gotten much better, and I think that's great since they are champions now. But yeah, Nikki and Doudrop ended up impressing me most of it. It just kind of made me want to see them with more in-ring time consistently on the main roster or wherever they are, because I really like to watch them in control. Every time Nikki Cross or Nikki Ash would did the thing when she put him in the ring apron, it just gave me flashbacks to the Cross days when she was a crazy lady, and I was just like, I miss Nikki Cross so much. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, man, I hated the way they did that finish though, because even though Carter and Chance showed that they had a lot of fight in them, with Toxic Attraction coming in and doing it like that, it just did not help the new champs at all establish themselves in any way. Because like you mentioned, throughout the match, they felt like they had no chance against Doudrop and Nikki, and just for it to end flat like that, I really did not like the way they decided to put this together. But anyway, I gave it 3.5 stars because it was, again, solid for the most part. Really, to me, until Toxic Attraction's music hit.
Yeah, well, I'll give it 3.25. But like you said, I just felt it was a bit like we had so much momentum going after those first 3 matches, but then again, you needed, I guess, a breather before the main event. But excuse me, it felt like Vince McMahon booking this match. It's like Rey Mysterio's world title reign of just kind of get destroyed and then fluking your way out of it. I'm all in for Nikki Cross and Doudrop or Piper Niven, getting their characters back. But at the moment, the tag division in NXT needs a lot of work. Predictions, Gina went Doudrop, the rest of us went for the NXT champs. So I'm on 3, Monty Jackson 2, Gina on 1. Grayson Waller doesn't want to join Schism. His mum is disgusted by him, so he tells her to go fuck herself. I mean, that is just Grayson Waller.
Yeah, man, that was great. Like, that was like, oh man, what an asshole. I loved it so. It was the delivery too. That's the thing. Like, usually people do those. You have to get the delivery right when you're gonna do those swerves. And he had the facial expression and everything because he looked genuinely disappointed for a second, just for a second. And then the true Grayson Waller showed up. So it was really, really good stuff. Really, really good.
And the thing is with Waller as well, and again, not to get too much into it, but you see this delivery from the promo. You see obviously what happened with Gargano back at the start. You just think they've not kind of gone more with him at this moment in time. And you don't know if it's just because of an in-ring perspective or just trying to find the right thing. I don't think the Apollo storyline is going to work because obviously that's what it was about. But we'll get into that. We've got the main event to get annoyed with or enjoy, as other people would say. The NXT UK Championship Unification match. Bron Breakker versus Tyler Bate. Breakker came out first. The crowd was red hot, particularly for the Brit, who went to the arena with a big pop. Moments after a brief video looking at the lineage of this championship, the Wall of Champions, Bate, Dunn, Walter, and Ian. And at that point, Monty, you thought, fuck, James might be right here. Yeah, man. The atmosphere, the big strong boy chants, it was just, it was definitely, I was like, I might be in trouble. Well, the thing is with me, I caught up with Wells Collide a little bit later because obviously he was coming off 24 hours from the Clash. After that, such a big defeat with Drew, I still managed to watch this main event live, which might have even crushed me even more. But at that point in time, I was ready for some good news on the weekend with Bate coming out. And it was a high drama main event. It features several near falls and false finishes that our fans believe in. They're about to witness history, only for the resilient double tough opponent to battle back in the match. Late, it appeared as though Bate was supposed to win with a Tyler driver, and that near fall broke my fucking heart.
Yeah.
Tyler, though,
I thought it was it.
Yeah, I thought that was it. But Tyler, when he got the foot on the rope after Breaker's trademark press slam, I actually thought, hang on a minute, it might be here. He rocks him with a hard right hand, and as he went for one of my favourite, it was actually my move of the year in like 2017, Monty, that lariat off the rope.
Yeah.
But he got hit with a spear from Breaker, who earns a win, and both championship. Bate, being the gentleman, the British manners, as it was, presented the UK and NXT title to Bron, but we could have had Tyler 2 belts, but instead we've got Bron. I did watch this twice, and I was thinking at the start Bate wrestled circles round it, but I think Bron did come into it. I mean, what were your thoughts on this first and foremost?
Yeah, man, believe it or not, I came away impressed with both of them, because again, and maybe it's because of all the stupid stuff with the schism and whatever else they've had Braun do, but as champion at times. But man, this was by far his best performance to me as champion. Right up there, or maybe up there with the stuff he did with Dolph. Like this is like still like top notch stuff for Braun here, or stuff with Ciampa, because that wasn't bad either. But he was still relatively fresh. This is like, now I feel like the timing, like they were hitting on all cylinders here, and they're both just unreal athletes. Like the explosiveness, I always say this about Braun, but I really got put on notice to just how explosive Bate can be also. And with that frame, it's always just a spectacle to watch him do what he does best. And and like you said, after all the Bate matches we've watched over just in a span of time, I'm pretty sure I know how good he is. So I really was trying to see just how was Braun lacking in any way. And to me, the more I watched this match, I actually thought that both guys had moments to shine. And Bate, again, a lot of people will say this all the time, and I get it. He shines with big guys or whatever. And, to be fair, he's not the biggest. So it's a lot of people can fit that description when it comes to him as far as like height goes. But the big strong boy can do anything, man. And like, it don't matter who he's going against. Like, that's what he feels like you watch him. He's almost superhuman at times. Yeah. And the formula is just perfect to me. And I thought Braun looked like he belonged here, And even like it made me feel like for a second there I can erase the Gacy stuff. It's hard to, because it was that bad. But for a while, this is the champion. This is what we focus on, this version of Braun. Screw all the stupid stuff they had going on months ago or whatever. And man, that Tyler driver, that spot, I just thought it was over. But man, Bate made that spear look like death. Like, that was the best spear. I don't know if it was just because of the size difference or what it was, but that spear just was so beautiful to me. I thought they both came out of it looking great. So I honestly, and you're probably gonna think I'm tripping, but I couldn't rate it. I couldn't take anything away from it. Like, I gave it 5 stars. Like, I really, really enjoyed this match, and here we go again with another perfect Bate match. Tell me, have you heard that before?
Well, this is the thing, and the thing is about with Bate, and it's not just working with a bigger man; it's working with the odds against him. Is where Tyler works at his best, Even, and the thing is, coming up, bringing something from a loss, and I hate to say it because but Tyler is one of those guys. Well, even if people watched this match before, saw the match before, and Bron's going to beat Tyler easy. After watching the match, for Bron actually winning because of what Tyler brought, and Tyler's done that with Volta before. He's done it with like I said, with Gallus and all these kind of people. It's the heart and determination of him, and there is, even though he's not like big promos, there is a connection people have with Tyler Bate, and you've seen it even in proper NXT, and you feel for him. And again, I'm not comparing him to any other wrestlers, before or after him or something like that. But it's that kind of Shawn Michaels ability of actually caring when he's getting kind of beaten up and bringing back. And like I said, it's a damn shame. It's the end of the NXTUK title, but we talked about earlier the quality of the champions and the title matches makes
even this match.
It makes it one of the greatest titles of all time, without doubt. It wasn't to be this weekend would be a fucking understatement when it came to results. But you know, when you think of Ron is 24, Bate 25, and Tyler is a 10-year veteran. This is the future. You can see Bron and Bate, and I'm going to make another point about another couple of wrestlers in a bit, but Bron and Bate, in all seriousness, for the next 20 years, could be... Well, Bron definitely is going to be on top. You know, there's no... Unless he does a Kennedy or whatever it is, like there's no doubt. But with Bate, for 25, like I said, watching him become a man, it is cool. Every fan in that arena loved Bate, you know. And another thing I loved as well about this was actually Wade on commentary. And again, it's another kind of thing he's talking about. Talk about his generation, you know, coming up with Sheamus and Drew, and talking about it was a previous generation of Fit Finlay and Regal before. And Bate now being this new generation and following in their footsteps. And it seems crazy, but this is what Tyler Bate has to do now, is follow in the footsteps of those who came before him, whether it would be a McIntyre, whether it would be a British Bulldog or whoever, to see what he can achieve. But all in all, I thought it was great. Like I said, the only reason I gave this 4 3/4 is because I can't award a 5-star to a prediction. You know, when it breaks me this much, the predictions hurt. They hurt more than anything. You know, I went Bate with Jaxie, and I said I had to. Monty and Gina went Bron. So the final scores is myself and Monty on 3, Jaxie and Gina on 2. What does that mean? Well, it means me and Monty get a point. So the prediction leads for the bonus. Gina and Jaxie on 6, Monty on 7. I am on 11. But as you know, Monty, it's coming up because I think we've only got 3 more WWE events coming this year. So, you know, one more AEW show and the bonus. So it's all on the line. Match of the night for me was the North America title. Unbelievable stuff. Obviously, you went the main event for that one. Who would be your MVP of the night, and what would be your rating out of 10?
Yeah, man, my rating out of 10, like I said, it was only one match that kind of took the energy of this night down. So I give us a strong maybe like 9, maybe in a quarter, maybe. I think that'll be accurate. Maybe I can go a little higher or a little lower. But yeah, I still liked it. I think I give it like in that range as far as a show rating. My MVP by far, Tyler Bate. I have no problem with doing that. Even though Braun won the match, again, it's just, I don't know what it is about the formula or just like what he does. It may have a little bit to do with how much I watch him in NXT UK too recently, but still, I'm just over the moon. I can watch a Tyler Bate match any day. Doesn't matter when it happened. Give me some recommendations if it's something I haven't seen. Also, besides that, overall though, I must say this as someone who ended up feeling great because of the way my predictions went that weekend. I must say, I don't know what the hell WWE. I don't know why they wanted to give you guys the finger, as in the UK. They just wanted to just give you guys the biggest finger possible that weekend for some reason.
The thing is, it's like it's you know, like the invasion angle or something like that. It's like, we know we're the outsiders. You know, when it's like UK. The Americans aren't going to let us win. You know, no offense, you guys as a nation, but we knew that. It's just nice to kind of be for one weekend, like we talked about, to have 2 events. To have, in all seriousness, no, man, but like to have 2 events that were prime time UK time. You know, 6 o'clock and 9 o'clock, to be able to watch this before you know, leaving the work on a Monday and be felt. No, this is them showing us respect. You know, and the way the crowd, the whole Clash event was, even in defeat, you know it's a big moment when Seth Rollins is still mentioning the crowd 2 weeks later on Raw. You know, when they're still showing clips of what happened, and hopefully from this, UK can take over NXT now. You know, we've got the talent, they've come up. Let's take over. You know, we might have lost this time, but if you look at, you know, and this is what I try and come to towards the end of the show, with Tyler Bate or Jordan Devlin or Pretty Deadly, Katie Ray. You know, we've got a chance now to A-Kid, Nathan Frazier, to dominate without him realising. So let's hope something comes from this. And yes, we might have not had the results we wanted, but as being a Briton, sir, we always don't have the results we want, you know? So yeah, I guess we have to deal with it. And what's weird, so we don't talk about what we've scored it or what, you know, who we've given it to before we start. But I did give it 9.25 out of 10, saying it was the best NXT show in years. And Tyler Bate was my MVP as well, because, like I said, he showed the world what he could do. And that is an introduction to the character that we want. So all in all, really great stuff. We've still got 2 episodes of NXT to cover, so we should get straight onto it. September 6th, Tyler Bate came out to say thank you for losing, I suppose. Gallus came out and said he let Britain down. He did, but he wasn't the only one that weekend, I will say. Breaker came out to even the odds. And remember, 1 NXT talent equals 2 NXT UK guys. Just remember that, you'll be fine. But Pretty Deadly, yes, boy. Double side plate check, but Lash chatting shit. Miko is disappointed. Cora Jade put a foot in her mouth, but Miko chose Roxy over Jade. Nikki Ash and Doudrop got revenge for Worlds Collide by beating Toxic Attraction. It's weird, though, because they hate each other on Raw. It's like, if only one guy was controlling all the creative, it would make more sense. Right. You know, but obviously.
It's a great point. Also, another, I want to give them props, though. Someone watches NXT UK, because I love the young women flocking to Mako for a match. Just love it. Because that's great. Because she is that, like, yes, she make her own matches still. I really love that element.
When you've got that much respect, you know. Apollo has a red eye, I will say. Jordan Devlin wants some of Vic Joseph, but had to settle with beating Wes Lee. It was a fun match, I suppose. Tony D gave Pretty Deadly an espresso. 1 year anniversary of 2.0 coming up. Should we really be celebrating? I don't know. Miko versus Roxanne Perez. We see the final boss connecting a big kick. Days Perez and then put the young star away with Scorpio Rising. Cora Jade attacked afterwards, but even Roxanne knew this was a big match for her. It's even like Miko is there, and you can just see the colour drain out the face. You know, going, oh shit!
Oh yeah, she was shaking. She was like, oh my god, yeah. She's like, you can just see the nerve. She was like a wreck, but she pulled it together though. Like you said, you can tell this was a big deal. And it just showed, again, another thing, reinforcing. If you don't know anything about Mako, if you haven't watched her at all, right in that moment, you learned, okay, this is someone that you have to respect. And again, no, it's nothing like it, man. It's nothing like it.
No, the respect between the two as well was quite nice after the match. Ricochet beat Trick Williams. We get a nice Damon promo explaining why he did what he did. Why did we not get more of this? Like, literally, he explained everything perfectly. He was the one that attacked Roddy. He destroyed Diamond Mine. Yes, please.
Yes, finally. And then it was such a lengthy feud. You don't understand. How long I've been telling you, can we get this Diamond Mine? Can they break up or not? I told you that months ago. Can they just go ahead and do it? But then I just love him explaining how he was playing in the seas, playing both sides, and how he felt disrespected. And you mentioned, you're right, in tone when he speaks, a lot of times he was very robotic. I don't know. Someone told him something, because that pre-tape, he had a lot of, arrogance and attitude with it that made you feel like, and honestly, he made me agree with him.
It makes sense.
Damn, Damon, that make a lot of sense.
When Michael Hayes said it, he said with the heel, as long as he believes what he's doing, then he will always be right in his own mind. And you can understand. It's like all the great villains in the world. Yeah, I can understand he was getting pissed off, but how many times did Roderick Strong and Diamond Mine fuck around and leave him alone? And it's just like, it's surprising how well it was put together. And you're going, fuck, yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Nice job.
Unfortunately for Cameron Grimes, he didn't want to join Tony D's family, so got beaten up for his trouble. Axiom versus Fraser is a best of 3 matches, as opposed to a best 2 out of 3 or 3 falls matches, which I'm pretty sure they fucking originally said, because we even did predictions.
Yeah.
But I don't mind. I don't mind 3 matches. Nathan Fraser wore down the knee of Axiom, but could not put the superhero away, who sealed his win with a running leg larry. I tell you something, though, Nathan must have taken a pair of old Rollins tights. I don't know if you...
Yeah, right? I noticed that, too. I was like, what the hell? I mean, it was nice looking gear, but it definitely felt like, a mini Seth Rollins or something there, man. It was a great little shot, but, yeah.
Just panic.
This was incredible,
when he starts dyeing his hair and go around to Becky Lynch's place. No, you're not Seth.
You're not him, okay?
But as you say, though, it was a great match. NXT UK lives on in a way.
Yeah, man, exactly. And I just love the fact that, once they just kind of got going full speed, you can just hear the investment of the fans. And again, it's just like, all right, it made me feel good because it's like, you know what, it may be different circumstances and all of that, but at least a lot more eyeballs are getting put on these 2 great talents doing what they do best in here. And honestly, it just made me. Now, I did say since Axiom won, immediately to myself, I was like, so, all right, Frazier's going to win the next 2 problems. That's what I'm thinking. But we'll see. Maybe I'm dead wrong. And but, yeah, man, this is incredible stuff. And I think it was one of those moments, again, where I felt grateful that I got a chance to watch NXT UK because it just felt great knowing who they were and just watching this and seeing that excellence that I came used to when I watched both of their matches, no matter who they were going against. It was great to see them come together and just feel really, really well.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with Wade Barrett as well. That Banana Man was ace. I'll fill you in on that in a little bit, Monty. Don't worry about that. The main event was Gallus versus Big Strong Boys. And Gallus tried to control the ring by isolating Tyler Bate, but Bron Breakker trusted his partner. After the NXT champion took out Joe Coffey with a spear, Bate hit a rebound clothesline into the Tyler driver for the win, but Jordan Devlin attacked Bate from behind afterwards, retreated for Breakker could get to him. I don't know about you, but I've forgotten about Trent Seven already because Breakker and Bate made an incredible team. Even when he did the Steiner pose, I was going, I'm fucking for this. I'm in this.
I loved it. Right. Yeah, man. It was incredible. The fans were behind them. They, like you said, the big, watching Bate do the bulldog, from the elevated electric chair position thing. That was just a great little callback to his father. It was great. Like you said, they worked really, really well together. It made me just want to see them do that even more. And like you said, these are 2 great singles competitors. And they made me want to see them in the tag division randomly, just for no apparent reason. It was great. They did really, really well. I really wish I could have, got a chance to see Gallus shine here, but they did the right thing because the faces, come on, 2 of the biggest stars in the world, they were great.
Yeah, but how fucking small does Joe Coffey look? Like even
I don't get it.
What Coffey and Wolfgang? They're in the ring. Coffey's a foot shorter.
What happened? Was he wearing does he wear super lifts in his gear in the UK or something? What is? I don't get it, man. Because I literally remember talking about when he does his from the second rope jumping to the top move. I was like, oh man, a big man doing something like that. And then you look at him now, he doing just he's not that big.
His thing is when Wesley's taller than Joe Coffey. We were like, what the fuck is that? I didn't. But Mark Coffey, though, at this moment, is a consistent member of Gallus in the ring. We saw it at Wells Collide when it was Wolfie, and Joe this week partnered him. I mean, I did enjoy this episode, but again, it featured lots of NXT UK talent. So how can I not? It's like you've extended NXT UK by an hour and put it on Tuesdays. So I can't really have a problem.
And we got way less cringy 2.0 flirting and whatever weirdo stuff that they had. They're slowly but surely getting less and less of the weird out of it. It's still there because it's 2.0, but Yeah.
Well,
But, yeah.
this one's interesting because we now get to the last episode of NXT, and it is the 1 year anniversary of 2.0. Can you believe a year has gone by? Unbelievable stuff. September 13th. We started with a steel cage match for the NXT Tag Team Championships. Pretty Deadly versus the Creed brothers. The Creed brothers kept Pretty Deadly from escaping early and often. However, after Damon Kemp handcuffed Julius, Brutus was left to fight alone. He fell to a second spilt milk from the champions. First off, yes, boy. No one's kicked out of spilt milk. But as I said earlier about Bron and Bate, you're going to have to stick with me now. I really do think Pretty Deadly remind me of like an early Edge and Christian. And I seen them working with the Creeds. And I think these teams could be facing off in all these different match types for 20 years to come. Because the bumping, the actual bumps of this match were sickening. Like all four of them were impressive. Yeah. I couldn't believe they were bumping like a fucking AEW show. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yes, yes, they were. Like the super cannonball thing. The what I don't even know if it was like a reverse Spanish fly, but he lands on his feet. Yeah. Oh, and watch this beat, like Julie said, watch this.
Yeah, fucking
away. Yeah, it's just like did that sick stuff, and then we go to commercial with him looking like a badass screaming in the camera. I'm like, yeah, no, this is incredible. This was like, yeah, I agree. Like they killed it, and they just were. I don't know. You would think this is another takeover or another special. The way it started, you know what I mean? Like the energy around it. The only thing that took away from me is that I was like, all right, Julius, I understand that you possibly could like break your wrist or whatever, but like try to jump down or something. He was hung up there just a little bit too long for me, but that was fine. It was fine. Yeah, because I was like, at some point, I'd just be flailing trying to.
At some point, no, be like, Damon, I don't know how much help you needed to be, to get him handcuffed to that.
That's true too.
I don't think you did it yourself. It's one of these moments.
Right.
But it's even like the suplex off the top and just those going to the side of the cage and just the way they were kind of folding up and stuff like this. Again, really, because Pretty Deadly, another team where you go, okay, they look like that, but they bump like the young Hardys. And the Creeds, I'm sure they've got no fucking fear because guys that size don't need to do that.
No, it's like when they won the title and he did. I think it was a shooting star or whatever. Julius did. It's just like you don't have to do this, man. Like he didn't have to do the moon, the Spanish fly thing, and it's just like, and they're just like you said, they are huge. They are, and to be doing these crazy moves and bumping the way they do, I wish them the best, but I definitely can see a bright future. Both teams, man, like you said, you can definitely see a bright future. Also, by the way, I know I'm going back with him, but when I thought about Brutus again, another great line from that Kemp promo is that I beat Brutus's ass.
Yes. Yeah.
I loved it. Like, I was always better than Brutus.
And the other thing I liked about it is with Brutus kind of later on saying, yeah, that was like 5 years ago, though, and that wasn't fair. What did it matter? Like, what's it matter? You don't need to say anything. Like, it must have really got to you. We then see Fallon Henley beating Lash Legend. Toxic Traction headed to the ring, and Alba Fire laid out Rose to make clear she wants the next NXT UK Women's Championship. See what I'm doing? I'm even adding UK to it, even though it's not. I just want Alba Fire to win the Women's Championship. That's all. Quincy Elliott made his NXT debut versus Sean Gallagher. An elaborate entrance with bright lights and smoke sold by a cheering crowd. And after his win, Elliott danced with the referee. I like the shades.
Yeah.
I would like a pair of those shades. But why did he have either an old Gold Dust or a mixture with like a King Mabel outfit? That's the
that's exactly what it was. Yeah. I think it was an old, but I don't know. It could be his gear. But from what I understand, it was a King Mabel old. So... yeah, he loves. I guess that was a shout out to King Mabel. The few people who really like that version of.
I can't believe I caught it. Like, that's one of the greatest wrestlers.
No, you called it. Yeah, right. In that gimmick, like I said, yeah, sure, Viscera, all right, you got me. Whatever, Viscera, I guess, but Team Mabel, whatever. Anyway, the point is, yeah, I have to say this. It's different, completely different, and it felt like a little bit, but it's different but familiar. Let me say it that way.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like the offense he was using. I didn't mind the work in the ring. It looked decent, even though it wasn't that long. It reminded me of like kind of a blend of, especially with the Banzai drop. Of course, I'm gonna think of Yokozuna with the finish, but besides that, of course, a little bit of he's getting headlines. I'm gonna mention him one last time, but yeah, it gave me a little bit of Dream vibes, of course. So we'll see, but it's different. It's way different, even different than Velveteen. The Velveteen was different, so. I don't know. Yeah. We'll see how that works out.
This is a problem, isn't it? Because we know which way this goes with, even if it's, kissing straight wrestlers and going, I ain't like that. And then the fans getting...
Gold Dusty. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I don't mind the face, especially the way like RuPaul is now or whatever kind of culture want to use. But be positive. And like I said, the crowd reaction at the moment is fine. It's just... how much
it can definitely go left quick.
Yes, without a doubt.
Yeah. I got you.
Well, we see Wesley was announced as a winner of the fan vote to challenge Carmelo Hayes. So, because of that, Mello and Trick attacked him in the locker room shortly afterwards. You always know when a wrestler is not on that level. He got punked, basically, of getting injured.
Right.
He couldn't even recover to come out for the match, even though it happened.
Yeah, it reminded me of Kofi at the Elimination Chamber or whatever. Yeah, just gets punted right before the match, threw aside, and Randy takes his spot. Like, what the hell? Yeah.
And then we get D'Angelo family versus Cameron Grimes. Cameron Grimes got beat down on his own. Joe Gacy walked into the corner for the richest man in NXT. He got the blind tag and pin challenge Stax Lorenzo with a handspring clothesline. And actually, I was quite interested in this. And I thought, is this a new dynamic with Joe Gacy? No, it was Grimes getting beaten down again. Just think again.
Nope,
Grimes, you get a kicking. There you go. The Schism beat him down. Shame.
I also thought the fans were very fickle. They won't even let Gacy talk usually. They tell him, shut the F up when he's speaking. But was he come and get Cameron, help Cameron, and now, Gacy, they were cheering their ass off for a second there for him. But familiar stuff here. Here we go with the Schism, and I don't know. All I think about when I see the Schism is, man, I miss my grizzled young vets.
Yeah. Don't. We hopefully don't. But at least they're still there. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I think about Sam Gradworthy now and again, and I go, well, at least the GYV is still there. It's like A-Kid, you know what I mean? These people, at least they're still a part of it. I cannot believe, I weren't going to mention the fan vote. How did Nikita Lyons get in the top 4? Like, what the fuck has she done? Like, the splits finisher. Yeah, top 4.
Yep, that's it. Instagram beauty, I guess. That's it. That's all I got for you. Yeah. Looks nice.
Yeah.
That's
it. She teamed up with Zoe Stark to beat Kiana Jameson around a Grace. This wasn't good. That's me being nice.
No, not at all.
Security guard Hank Walker, because Hank must be the most generic American name. I'm guessing, just make him Hank.
It's up there with John.
Yeah. Hank John Walker beat prick Javier Barnell. We slow cooking. He's been calling him a prick the past few weeks because he probably has been one. But then again, it looked like Hank had a hole in his stomach. Now I'm not one but those little belly over the belt, probably not the best way of doing it. But again,
I definitely had to look and be like, oh, okay, is that what I think it? Oh, okay, it is.
Hello.
What
Fair play.
Yeah,
He'll be coming out dressed as Viscera next week in a long leather jacket. It'll be all right. We get NXT announcing the arrival of Oro Mensah. Like we said, the former Oliver Carter. Now, I thought we'd see Carter, but fuck me, he must have hit the right line at the right time. Like, to debut this... Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of Carter, but like, wow. Like, you must have been at that meeting at the right time to get that right. Whoever walks in next is going to debut next week. Oh, hello. Oh, fucking hell. Like, it'd be interesting to see what he does, though, especially in a new character in the singles.
Yeah, man, I'm really excited to see because again, us getting that, having that angle of watching them kind of lead into this. Like if you was watching NXT UK, it makes perfect sense. If you watched it back in the day and you knew about him and Smith, you might be a little confused. But either way it goes, I'm excited. I think like we mentioned before, he definitely has the potential to be really, really good. So we just have to see in what vein what are they gonna do with him. And I don't know. I definitely can see him in working with a lot of different people, but it's just gonna be a legit singles run. Is he gonna be thrown into the situation similar to Axiom or Nathan, where he's just giving great contests? Because we have a lot of people from NXT UK kind of filling the role, so it's like I want to see if they're gonna try to do something different, or we're just gonna have another guy who what's gonna be different about Oliver Carter is what's really interesting me. But honestly, like you said, he has the potential to be great. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, at this moment in time, I'm thinking, right, all UK talent get together and let's literally just take out the 2.0 lot, and let's just
everybody.
See if we can.
Just
have
Carl Shaw, everybody.
Literally everybody take
Sam.
him out. Well, the main event, Mella Hayes walked out with Trick Williams. Of course, not wrestling Wes Lee. However, Solo Sikoa arrived to call his shot. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's NXT Solo. So I'm like, oh, okay.
Right.
But he's still the prick that did what he fucking did at the Clash. So, for me, it's Trick was taken out. You
can tell the people in Florida that, though, man.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. Trick was taken out. And the A champion was caught with Uranagi, and the Usos splashed. And your new North American champion, Solo Sikoa, he did say he got next. I thought this was great stuff, but felt maybe a bit rushed.
Yeah. It was definitely a little bit rushed, and I wish kind of that Melo's reign was able to end with maybe a little bit more payoff, but I didn't mind it because of not only because of the circumstances that Solo himself in. I kind of I was cool with the idea of him trying to becoming a champion and then returning back to the Bloodline fold because they all have gold. So I get that point. But yeah, man, it was great. By the way, again, here we go again with just the reason why I love Melo. Facial expressions, man. When he saw Solo, he knew he was in trouble. Like, I just loved it. I love the way he sold it. Like, no, I don't want this. I don't want to fight Solo. So again, it was just he's just incredible in defeat, because like when he lost the ladder match with Grimes, I think it was in impressive fashion. And even though this was done the way it was done, this still felt like a hell of a moment. And seeing Solo hold the one up and with the championship belt, it just felt right because, again, like you mentioned, he was adamant that he was going to be next up, and he made it a reality. Like, I understand withholding some bitterness there. I get it. But it was still an awesome moment. You have to admit that.
Without a doubt. And the thing is that Solo, if he needed gold, you can't take the title off Walter at the moment, like I said, with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, Bobby either.
This is the best, I did read on Twitter, and I don't know who to say it, give him credit, that Sami Zayn needs to win the 24/7 title, just so that it's all matching.
Yeah.
Which I quite liked. But it makes me worry for Melo a little bit, unless he wants to step up in NXT. I just feel someone like him.
That's what I hope is next.
Yeah, as a champion, can pull that off. And obviously, if him and Trick kept together, even if it would debut on SmackDown in a couple of weeks' time and continue feud with Ricochet, I wouldn't have a problem. But it's like you said, it's the end goal for each of these talents. We're getting an influx of the UK guys. We want to see how that kind of pans out as well. And also, the call-ups and a certain talent that might happen here, especially with Solo defending the title on SmackDown at this moment in time.
Which was nice. That was really dope.
Well, he main evented. Yeah, he main evented against Drew the previous SmackDown. Showed up here, won the title, and then beat Moss to defend. Thanks to again Sami Zayn. So bringing more eyes to it. And Solo celebrated in the ring, and we thought that was it. But all of a sudden, a video package aired with NXT boss Shawn Michaels hyping up the brand. He said NXT has been and always will be about developing the superstars of tomorrow, but we always reflect and acknowledge in the past. NXT is constantly evolving with a focus on the future. Superstars develop and move on, but our message to our passionate fans will never change. We are NXT. With that, the multicoloured NXT 2.0 logo transformed into a new white and gold logo on a black background, Monty. We're fucking back!
We're back. Finally. Oh, I don't have to dread these reviews. A year of just frustrating television is over.
We started the show knowing we were going to talk about the end of NXT UK, but this is the end of 2.0. 2.0 is ending. What does the future hold, Monty, for NXT now? You know, come on.
Oh man, I'm hoping for nothing but the best, man. The rebrand, I can't wait. I just ready to see the new set. Like I'm hoping if they go back to Full Sail or get out of CW, get out of where they are now. Like I don't mind it. I'm just excited. There's a lot of possibilities. Like you said, the influx of NXT UK talent, the possible call-ups, the people that we still have like in the Apollo Crews position who could always come back down and help out. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just very, very optimistic about the future and what it possibly means going forward. You know, maybe we even get another belt design and can get rid of the rainbow thing.
Yeah.
You know, so that'll be great. But even if not, as far as that right now, I just love the idea of going back to the old NXT, recognizing that 2.0 was what it was. But I think going forward, it's going to feel more like, even if it's not the old NXT to remember, I think it's going to feel more like it's a separate brand again and less back into the developmental. Like, yes, it's going to be parts where we know that these people are developmental and all that. Maybe we'll have less. Like, I know my pet peeve of the 2.0 era, but there was a lot of people that me and you saw weekly that we know were not ready to be on television weekly. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully we can get a little bit less in that, a little bit more safeguarding these characters, a little less weird characters. Because, like, that's another thing, too. Have you noticed that they kind of almost, especially in the women's division with some of the newer faces, like Kiana James, for example, why the hell is she a businesswoman? If you're doing that, go do that. Why are you wrestling? You said it with Lash Legend. Ariana Grace is a pageant lady. Like, everybody, I can just go down the list of the new faces and all the other things that they have going on besides wrestling. So hopefully we can get back to them actually having wrestling-related motivations, and what they do outside of or whatever they're supposed to be don't have too much bearing on what we're seeing. But we'll see going forward. But I'm just very, very optimistic that things are changing again. We went through the 2.0, you know, however you want to look at it, the down period or whatever. We survived it. Now I'm just hoping that what we see on the other side after finally completing this journey, that we will get back to what we're used to, which is top-notch, high-quality NXT level content. And I just hope that we can get back to that, you know?
Yeah, amen to that, without a doubt. Like I said, we've struggled through 2.0, and now we're getting it. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. We talk about lots of NXT UK talent at this moment in time up on NXT, and we don't know if it's just going to be for the next couple of months up until NXT Europe, and then we'll see what happens there with the talent. But like I said, it's got to be a fresh start somehow, but NXT must help them out in certain ways, so that would be interesting. But I think we just enjoy it. You know, the next 2 episodes of NXT are taped already and done. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. Like you said, in a couple of weeks' time, or 3 weeks' time when it's live, and the new set, and the setting up with everything there. So we don't know what the future is going to hold for NXT and NXT Europe, but we're hopeful for that. So the final question for you, Monty, and like I said, we've asked this question a lot today. We talk about the legacy of NXT UK. Now, I am a lot happier ending this show looking at the legacy of the UK than we were at the start, because it seems like they knew they had talent and they should be used correctly. And I think if we look at Walter
Right.
and Pete Dunne and Ray Ripley, even Tony Storm, people that are successful from the brand, I think 5 or 10 years time we can look back and it might have an even bigger impact. And this might seem weird to say than the kind of original NXT with the amount of call-ups that actually might work.
Right, that's true too. Like this another. Now that we have, like you said, Triple H in that position, the stigma of a lot of these people who come from NXT, fizzling out or not becoming what they were meant to or what they were in NXT, we should get to see a lot less of that because of the mind of who's in control of the main roster now. So again, it's like you said, you can be optimistic about that. You can be optimistic going forward when it comes to all the, like you said, just the possibilities. Another thing too that got me really excited too is when you think about the NXT UK additions and all of that. Like you mentioned, Tyler Bate may be 25. He may be around the same age as some of these people who've only been wrestling a year or so or whatever. But like you said, he has a decade of experience. Kaylee Ray has been doing this a long time. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these NXT UK people are not in that developmental stage, even if they do need some, WWE style, development. They may, you know what I'm trying to say. They're not at wrestling school anymore. If you see what I'm trying to say, they got it. They already got that part. So it really, like I said, it has me really optimistic for the match quality going forward and all of that stuff. And then, like I said, looking back on the 2.0 era, it's easy to be very, very negative and all of that type of stuff. But I think the biggest difference is that it felt closer. It was close. It was 2.0 was much closer related to the early days of NXT and the last days like FCW and all that. It was closer related to that than it was to that golden period. That everyone starts with NXT Arrival takeover. If you see what I'm saying, the takeover period. So like it was closer related to that than that was, and I'm hoping that the white and gold, or if that's what we're gonna go with, I'm hoping that era is closer to what we know and love, and like you said, possibly even better because of the results at the end of the day. So I'm very optimistic right now. We'll see. We have to give it all time to play out. But man, the future is looking really bright in NXT now that we have new leadership and new things in place.
Yeah, we're about that. And the rumours of the NXT takeover now coming back as well will be fantastic. Imagine the next NXT takeover that we're going to have. But in actual fact, and I'll say finally, because we're going to put a pin on it now, because it's been excellent talking about NXT UK, and we will look back on NXT UK, when we do get the chance, and maybe look at like the 5 top 10 matches of all time or something like this. It all dependent on the Europe as well, and we're going to see what it's like before we decide to kind of. I'm sure we will watch the first episode, but then it will depend of kind of how it goes as well. But I'd just like to thank you for being with me for the end of NXT UK, basically. Like I said, we've gone through a lot, but this episode is massive because, like I said, 2.0 and UK coming to an end. But it's not all doom and gloom. And we're going to do some just quick spoilers. Monty, you don't mind a little spoiler, do you?
No, not at all.
No, not at all. Just anybody that doesn't want any spoiler, right? Just put your finger in your ears right now. Excellent. Because due to the taping NXT, they have announced the Halloween Havoc main event. Now, I don't know if you know this, Monty, or not, but the main event for Halloween Havoc will be the NXT Championship. It will be Bron Baker versus Jordan Devlin versus Ilya Dragunov.
Ah, really? Really? Okay.
It's true. Ilya is back, and the question is, he would be an excellent first champion for NXT Europe. But again, I don't want to lose a prediction point before we've even given it, But like I said, we even forgot about him. And if he shows up and if he's going to be the guy we know he can be, then that Bron Breaker's in serious trouble.
Yeah, and he has a great angle too. Like I never lost my belt, and you took it, and you're supposed to be the guy now. Yeah, I would love it, and like you, oh my goodness, if that got me a little bit too excited. The thing is, I don't know. I've told you, I've been beating this drum forever about this. I want Melo and Breaker I want that to be the one to do that, but I would not mind at all if Ilya was the one to come in and do that, because it makes so much sense, and it'll be a great little thing, like you said, heading into Europe, or just even having him just as NXT champion, and like again, putting more eyeballs on how great he is. Yeah, man, it'll be great. It'll be great.
Imagine if they announced Dar versus Melo for the
Heritage
Cup as well.
Heritage Cup rules or something, rounds match, please. Anything. Don't even have to be for the cup. Just let them go. Like I said, lock them in there. 60-minute Iron Man.
But it's been worthwhile. That's what I'm saying, everybody. Even listening,
yes.
The NXTUK, it's been worthwhile. We have been introduced to these fantastic talents and matches we had never watched before, never had the opportunity to see, and now they're going to hopefully get the chance in the new NXT, and it's exciting times. And I can't remember the last time we did a NXT pod for 2.5 hours and actually left it more excited than we were when we started.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you go back a couple of NXT reviews, I'm pretty sure we sounded like zombies talking about this, skipping through half the show, saying most of it was meaningless. Like, hopefully those days are over, man. Like, I'm really excited when it comes to the future. And then, like I said, you can already feel it, because as like I said, as these 4 episodes that we reviewed here, as they continue to go and wind down, you can kind of feel, like you mentioned it during Worlds Collide, it felt like them old NXTs a little bit more. So I think it only can get better the more we lean in that direction.
Cut to 6 months' time when we're going, we never knew how good it was.
Right? 2.0, I miss you.
It goes to shit, but that's it. That is it for today's show. And like I said, thank you, Monty, for watching the NXT UK show with me, and thanks to everybody associated with NXT UK for delivering the goods week in and week out. We will indeed miss you. Don't forget, load the WNR across all social media, Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNR JR. You can find the WNR team on the Twitter banner. Monty, we've not mentioned on the pod, but you've been looking at the PWI 500 or 50 or whatever the fuck it's
called. Yeah, you're right.
I've been listening to the show. I've been listening to the show, but again, I've got my own shit to deal with. So.
Oh, I get it. Trust me, I understand completely, man. Yeah, we definitely talked about everything. All the rumors going around. Even some little things they still talking about from the backstage brawl in AEW, of course, and just the future of WWE. But we definitely got into the mostly I focused on the top 30, and maybe I kind of went further down with some of my favorite names because they were a little further down the list. But we definitely discussed it and got a chance to talk a little bit about like Roman Reigns being on top. My complete disapproval of Moxley being number 12. Like, come on, man. And Moxley, you can make the case Moxley had a better year than he had when he was number 1 on that list. But anyway, if you want to hear more of that, more of me just ranting on how off base the list was, even though some of that, because it's based in kayfabe, some of it I can understand. Check out the newest episode of Mind of Monty podcast at Mind Monty Pod on Twitter. You can click the link in my bio, or you can type in the Mind of Monty on YouTube, or type in Mind of Monty on any platform that you listen to podcasts. I appreciate your support, and I'm working on even more content as we speak.
Yeah, well, see, guys, people go, James, you do too much. I introduce everybody to Monty, thank you very much. We're also on Facebook and Instagram, across all good platforms. Send us an email at dublin.podcast@gmail.com, and YouTube at Dublin Podcast with all latest clips. And we've got clips of Clash at the Castle there, so you can actually see what it looked like in real life. And podcasts go at the same time, and YouTube, as you do SoundCloud on your phone. Also, Spotify and iTunes, we can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode will be with Gina and Jaxie looking at AEW Grand Slam. Monty, next time you join us, a little bit of a break here, man. October 8th is when hopefully we're going to meet up. But I'm going to throw something that I've even spoken to you about. I'm hoping to do a Bound for Glory review which is October 7th.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 24 hours to watch that event. I'm going to break that news to the girls when I see him live. So I'll say, look, these bad news.
At least I get some prep time.
Yeah, I want to watch Impact. But also, we'll have Extreme Rules predictions, because that'll be the same eve as Extreme Rules. And we'll talk about, again, Monty, I feel horrible, but Jaxie, Gina and I will be going to watch New Japan live, the Royal Quest, and we will talk about that as well. And I'm hoping, between you and I, hopefully they got good seats, because I can take some fucking good pictures. So I'm hoping to get like Jay White perfectly, and kind of all these guys. But we'll be talking about that as well. But like I said, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show and talking about NXT, especially like you said. Most of the episodes I'm bullshitting and saying how important it is, but this one feels like a massive episode.
Definitely. And I love the fact that it wasn't all morbid, horrible news this time. Like, usually every NXT review is something terrible. Like, NXT UK being gone, that sucks. But we kind of have the bright spot that we have a new era, something to still be excited about leaving this show. So I love that. And I do want to, you said you appreciate me for watching, but trust me, the pleasure was mine. I appreciate you for allowing me, to do this for NXT UK. And it's kind of like in the similar vein of how I felt when we all did a review for Forbidden Door and kind of jumped down the G1 climax with New Japan. That, like I said, that's my baby. And I feel like NXT UK was yours. So I'm honored that I was here, even if it was his last days. I'm honored to be here for that.
I really appreciate it, but I'm saying my baby's dead. So is that what
I'm sorry. Yeah, unfortunately, it was hard to. I was trying to spin it positively, James. Damn it.
Well, on that note, I guess we'll leave it there.
What a pessimist.
Well, yeah. Well, my baby's dead, everybody. But let's hope there's more in the future. Until then, I've been James Rowland, and I was joined by, as I said, the brilliant Monty. I said Mind of Monty podcast. Whatever you want to call him, he will hear you. Thanks for this, everybody. Sure. And like we said, let's do it again soon. Bye, everybody.